You know, not everything has to be a huge discussion. All right, everybody take 10. Let me pull you aside, hand around the shoulder. Okay, John, so in this scene, again, here's what I need from you, buddy. On take 10. I can't do that all the time. Okay, so should I do some cheesy "What's Up" YouTube intro?
This is your show, man.
Buddy, you got to tilt it. Grab it right here, right here. Grab it from the black part.
Oh, whoa.
Just tilt.
Right here?
No. Grab the actual arm.
Yeah.
Yep, and just turn it toward yourself. Not up and down.
Oh, like that.
Turn it toward yourself. Like this. Like a motorcycle. Not that one. You see my hand? Look how your hand is like this. There you go. Now turn it toward yourself.
Oh, okay.
Look how much better you sound.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
No problem. Geez, 63 episodes. I haven't been talking into
It's
it.
crazy. You have no idea the post-production work that goes into making you sound good.
You got a AI.
Yeah, whenever I watch,
It's
I can't hear
crazy.
you.
What?
I can't hear you whenever I watch.
Yeah. Just mute your show. I'm out. I'm a passenger right now.
I know. I am excited though to have you on, John, and I'm excited.
Not me.
I'm excited.
Not
I
me.
see you all the time.
Sure.
I rarely see him unless usually the guests on this show are people that I'm writing checks to. Usually now I get to see them and not have to write.
I live
checks.
rent free.
That's nice.
Yep.
Trust me, I do a lot of work for you, kid. I do a lot of shit for you. So yeah, welcome, Nick Williams Show. Nick Williams, independent filmmaker. Today, episode 11, John Potvin. Nice
How you
to
doing?
see you.
Thanks
And
for having me.
RJ Curreri.
Yes.
RJ, we've never met before.
If
so,
not.
it's nice to meet you. You as an assistant, or what do you do?
Yeah. Well, we do the Movie Mob podcast from different locations. We got a big screen. I've never seen you behind it.
Well, I wanted you to feel at home,
Really-
so I decorated it to feel more like the Movie Mob podcast.
Thank you.
But that's
Thank you.
all right. No, I'm super pumped. We just filmed our Movie Mob episode, which is
did.
why you're here. And John was coming in, and RJ was like, "Oh, I'll stick around if it's John." Originally,
I was supposed to work, and then I
Right.
got called out of work, and it was
Right.
perfect.
Hey.
I asked him, and purposely didn't tell him that there'd be a guest on. I asked him to be on the show, and he was like, I gotta work, buddy. And I said, John's gonna be here. He said, oh, it's convenient. The lady, she got sick, I'll stick around. I said, great.
I just got called out for some reason.
So it's regular talking. We can talk about anything you want. Treat it kind of like Howard Stern. And what I mean by that is that it's uncensored, so we can talk about anything. We can say
Cool.
anything.
Where's Beetlejuice?
And if you, you're sitting right there. What do you mean? If we end up saying something that you don't want said, or if there's a name, you know what I mean, that you don't want in there, just to not to shit talk anybody, but if some of this stuff in this industry specifically, like, you can't talk about until things come out. So if you're
Right.
like talking about a set and it was directed by, and you accidentally slip up and say a name, I can take that out. That's fine. It's not a
Cool.
problem. But so I don't want you to feel hindered in any way. I figured, since RJ stuck around, that we could probably talk about Cadillac a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
just talk about that process. But I kind of like to start with stuff that I don't know, because it gives you an excuse to talk,
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll just sit here and talk to you for 3 hours, and you'll be like, yep, and
I'll
then
just
it'll
be
be
hanging
over.
out. Yeah.
Right. But I only know you as an actor. So, and you've been in one of my films, been in one of RJ's films. Like, where, how, when did that get started? Like, what's your deal? Who the fuck are you? That's what I want to know. Who is John Thomas
you a
Who
Potvin?
the hell do you think
Right.
you are?
And by the way, I have a little bit of a gripe with you.
Okay.
Because way back in the day, I used to see all of these outfit of the days that were being posted. It was always a picture of your bed with clothes laid out all over it, or it was like,
Yeah.
it was like, get this kid a
He
dress
doesn't
up.
wear clothes anymore.
Now he doesn't wear nothing. Look at him.
Yeah.
Big pixely thing. Right.
Yeah,
Put a shirt on.
I do like fashion a lot. I would love to pursue kind of like a bigger social media presence in fashion, but
Yeah.
that's to make it more, I guess to make it different, make it seem like it's more interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't figured that out, and also just committing the time to it would be.
Because you got a lot of people doing that, especially
and
on
it's like,
TikTok.
I'm not entirely sure what I would be if I would be revolutionizing anything. I would just
you could be like the guy on the street that asks what they're wearing.
I could do that, but then I have to talk to people,
Yeah,
and
that's
my
fair.
social battery runs low.
Yeah.
That's true.
When
So
I'm done.
how'd you get into acting,
And
and why?
why? Well, I I think it unintentionally started when I was really young. I have an identical twin brother, and I have 2 older sisters, and they were really into just creating stuff. My sisters would steal my parents' like the old big video recorders, video cameras.
Yeah.
And we would just spoof commercials, make stupid movies.
The best.
I was 6 years old. We still have them, and it's sometimes I watch them and I'm like, that's some better acting than I have now. Surprisingly,
don't worry,
better.
he still wants to get hired. You can still hire him for
surprisingly better. But yeah, and so that was kind of how it unintentionally started. I just kind of got comfortable with a camera, like right in my face. And then in high school, I was always the last person to pick what classes I wanted to do. And on senior year, drama class was really my only option, so I had to do it. But I liked the teacher. So I get into drama class. I learned how to improv and work with this teacher who was wonderful. And then the school play started, and he goes, I would love for you to audition for the school play. We were doing The Crucible. This is 2013.
Nice. And you played Abigail.
Yeah. And he said, I want you as Abigail. And I said, I really think I could do better than that.
Right.
But yeah, and then I got on and I did the audition. I remembered my monologue, and I said to him, because I was working at a movie theater at the time, and I was basically going to school, going to work, and that was my whole life.
Yeah.
And I said, please just give me an easy role, because I can't commit to this. And then he goes, yeah, I need you to play Proctor.
The lead.
Johnny Proctor.
Yeah, boy.
Jeez.
And there you get a top Daniel Day-Lewis's performance.
So I watched that film a couple times to see what was going on. And obviously it's Day-Lewis, so it's
right. You
it
can't
like
do better
blows
than
me
that.
out of the water,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, that's good. But I definitely that was I was kind of unintentionally. I just didn't want to suck, so I was just watching Daniel Day-Lewis do this. I was
I was gonna
learning.
say, then why were you doing theater? But no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I was learning how to act, learning how to memorize lines. I was watching all these videos, reading all these books, kind of unintentionally, just because I didn't want to do a bad job. And then I still remember this. I had 372 lines in that play.
Jeez.
I still remember that line because I wrote them down, I think, 15 times just in a notebook. I had like 6 notebooks, and I was just writing all my lines down to remember them. And then we did the show, and
what grade was this?
I was a senior in high school.
Okay, cool.
And I did pretty well.
You murdered.
I did all right.
Fell in love with it.
And then I remember sitting on stage at curtain call and everything, and people were clapping, and just thinking to myself, man, this is what I want to do. And then I met a couple of friends after that who they had their own little kind of film company, just like a dinky camera, and they just wanted to make some stupid movies and stuff. And so they just asked me to be in it. I was a bully in one of them. I beat a kid up with a rock. I forget what happened. But great group of guys. And then I just kind of fell out of it. I got into another career. And then when I was 20...
What was the other career?
I was a personal trainer.
Shocker. But you're so out of shape.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was... that industry is the worst. I hate that industry. Yeah, it's just... Yeah. Just everyone's a salesman. No one actually cares. I don't think anyone actually cares about like...
Yeah.
Like,
and you need that too, because you just said like if you didn't have that good teacher in that drama class, you might not have done acting.
Yeah. He was a huge inspiration for me. Just taught me the basics of marks and projecting and remembering lines and how to convey your physicality and everything. And yeah, his name is John Hopkins. He's a great guy. If he ever listens to this, thank you, John.
Could be one of the viewers.
Thank you, John, for everything.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's been doing well so far, so that's good.
Yeah.
A lot of listeners.
Yeah.
We got to get the viewers up, but still, it does well.
I'll promote it, don't worry.
It was something that needed to be said that was unsaid, but that's fine. We can say
How much did you pay him to be
quiet out loud. Quiet
Yeah,
out
right?
loud. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so after that, I got out of a breakup and just kind of wanted to...
And what was his name?
It was Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
And I just kind of wanted to fresh start, kind of do it. So I quit my job. I really got serious about, what is it I want to do? What's something I haven't really pursued? And it was acting. I just never really pursued acting. And then the first 3 auditions I went out for, I booked.
Nice. That never happens.
That was 2018. And that
start.
never happens.
Yeah.
and I booked a improv live theater show. And then
shit!
I booked a commercial and I booked a film.
That's
Wow.
like really honestly the improv live theater show is a little bit more impressive.
Yeah, it was a good start.
What was
sure.
the film?
The film? It was a film called The Candy Tin by this great director Shane Butler.
Okay.
It was just, I think COVID delayed post-production and everything, so it's just kind of recently come out, but it did quite well. I was just a supporting role. I had one scene or something, but it was really my first experience on a film set, like a professional film set, and with getting mic'd up and everything, and it was cool. It was a really great experience, and I still run into Shane sometimes at festivals, and he's a great guy, and we're still friends.
Right. Good for Shane. Shane's a good guy. I don't know him.
I was gonna say, because you didn't mention this, but I remember you saying this to me on the set of Cadillac, the Lord of the Rings documentaries.
Oh yeah,
that got you into it too.
Oh man, yeah. Well, what happened was that I was probably like 7 years old, and my sisters love those movies. My older sisters, they love those movies, and I walked in on. We weren't allowed to watch any of that stuff because there's beheading and blood and whatever.
Right. Very sheltered childhood.
Yeah. And so
I cast you in 2 mafia films. Go ahead.
But so I walked in one day, and it was the scene in the Fellowship of the Ring right when Aragorn decapitates the orc. Yeah. That was the scene I walked in on. I was like, this is so cool. What is this?
Yeah.
And then my sisters introduced me to Lord of the Rings, and I just remember watching it. I thought it was just the coolest film series ever. Every single one I just rewatched, and then I forget if it was for a birthday present or something, but they got me the box sets, the big box sets.
Yeah, with all the extras and all the shit in there. Yeah,
and I started watching that, I think, just on a rainy day, and I would just put them in and start watching them, and it's like 10 hours of material. Yeah. And I would rewatch those over and over again. And really what it was is like you see the cast, you see like Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen kind of being themselves with their castmates and getting dressed up in this stuff and sword fighting and horseback riding.
Being able to turn the character on and turn it off again. And realize that they're still human beings.
And they're all friends too, yeah.
That was a huge thing of like seeing the camaraderie of these people coming together, and then the friendships they build, like lifelong friendships. And then it was Orlando Bloom who said like he made like $130,000 on that.
He said that on Howard Stern, I think.
Yeah,
but he said he didn't regret it at all. Yeah,
he said he'd do it for free.
I think I'm not mistaken. They shot all 3 of those back to back.
Yeah, 18 months they shot those.
Which I mean, you got to become friends with those people at that point.
You're living with them at that point. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, that was a special thing.
But that stuff's cool, and I just had the pleasure of watching it again with my girlfriend because she's never seen it.
Oh yeah.
So watching her watch it for the first time. And, she's crying when Boromir dies. She's cheering when
and you're loving it. You're sitting there watching her more than you're watching the movie.
Yeah, that's what I miss.
Right.
I want to have that experience again.
Right.
So,
and probably, I'm assuming you want to give that experience to other people as well.
Yeah, I love showing people films that I personally love.
So can we touch on something? And I'm not like calling you out at all, but it's about the thing you said about going to theater. You said the theater, you needed an extracurricular or something, and theater was the only thing that was like available, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So was there like a sense for you on the acting side of like, I'm not going to do what am I, theater? You know what I mean? Like beforehand, before you got into it, I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm sure that those box sets and like the disc 2s, I call them, right? Like the behind the scenes stuff gives you more of a sense of like anybody can jump into this stuff. There's like that fear of not wanting to look stupid. You know what I mean? Like it shows you like the more you commit to a role and like actually dive into it, the better the actual production's going to come out. If you try and be the cool kid and like just fuck around, it doesn't come out as good as you want it to come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The work I did for Proctor, I think was just that probably just comes from my dad. My dad's a hardworking guy, and he just never believed in half-assing anything.
Right.
And I'm just deathly afraid of sucking. I just don't want to suck.
Okay.
And that puts you in a really interesting headspace where you go to extreme measures to
right. But there's a stigma
it.
though. There's a stigma around acting or like modeling but especially when you're high school age. I used to live in LA. and I did. We moved in between freshman and sophomore year of high school for me, back out to Massachusetts, and everybody in the morning. I kid you not, I played football, and we did. Every morning was men's chorus. Then we did football training. Then we went to school, and then we stuck around and did theater shit after school. And if you didn't, you were like fucking loser. Like you're gonna live in a tent in LA. Like that's how it is out there.
Yeah.
All the parents are helicopter moms and dads. Like they're like, you're not auditioning for the school musical? What are you, a loser? Like you're not gonna be anything.
Yeah.
That's the mentality. Out here, if you don't play basketball or football or whatever, you're a loser. You know?
Yeah.
If you do anything other than a sport, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
So,
I was a loser for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't come out here and play sports or anything, but out there it was like the extracurriculars are usually, at least in Southern California, like the extracurriculars are almost as important, if not more important, than the doctors and lawyers and all those things that you could be. Because it's like that's a real career path. And when I moved out here, I was convinced that it's like, okay, well, I'm never going to make movies. Like, I just got to find another job. I got to find something else to do because nobody out here does any of that shit, you know? So, and if you live on the North Shore, like where we are, right? If you go out to like Gloucester, Rockport area, whatever, you could be an artist, I guess. You could paint, oil painting.
Yeah.
That could be a real career move. But out, you know, I'm just saying there is a stigma with kids, young adults, whatever, around even trying to embark, not even knowing like where to start or get into something like that because they don't want to look like a loser in front of their friends, I'm saying. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, someone like you, because you have to have a certain mentality because you're not a loser. You're a very good-looking kid. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you're out there. You weren't like the not cool one in high school. There's no way.
Oh, I was not cool.
You were not the not cool one. Don't
I
give me
was
the
not
Matt
cool.
Rife story bullshit.
No, seriously,
okay?
I had a problem with my weight. I was very awkward.
What was the problem with it?
I was overweight.
Why is that a
I
problem?
was incredibly overweight, and my parents threw me into sports.
Because of your weight? Did they send you to fat camp?
They didn't say that explicitly, but I imagine it's probably true.
Right. They said, what are we going to do about this? It's blown up. It's a fucking house.
Ray, have you seen that?
Yeah.
He doesn't stop eating cereal.
Yeah.
Was it cereal? Was that the vice?
Oh, I was late for school a couple times eating bowls of cereal.
Really?
Bowls? Multiple bowls?
Never a
multiple
cereal guy.
bowls.
So when I was growing up, right, I was told that you couldn't have dessert unless you finished what was on your plate. And so I was like trained, like in vegetables, everything. Like you eat the whole meal on the plate because I have a wicked sweet tooth. So I was like, I'm going to fucking finish this meal because I want that cannoli over there.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
mine. So I would, doesn't matter. And then my parents would be like, wow, he's eating a lot of desserts and shit. So we'll give him more food. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
oh,
right.
dude, when I was born, like I don't know what the correct amount is. I think it's like 2 or 3 or 4 bottles like a day. Maybe it's 2, depending on the size of the kid. You know what I mean? Like when you're given a baby bottle, right?
Sure.
My dad called the hospital. He called the doctor and said, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this kid with the eating. And the doctor was like, is he not eating? Like, is he not eating? Because you can bring him in right now. Like, what's the issue? Like, no, we're like at 8 bottles of milk a day. 8 bottles a day. I was like double the average everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Get that
I'm an
calcium.
anomaly. Yeah, strong bones.
Yeah.
You know, I've never broken a bone, to knock on wood,
There you
but I've
go.
never broken a bone.
Nice.
to
I wonder
this
if
day.
that's contributing. That'd be an interesting thing
Yeah,
to find
well,
out.
you know, I'll donate myself to science after I'm gone.
Yeah.
Be a couple of years out.
His
Yeah.
body's
And your
75%
Oscars.
milk.
Hey, Elon, you know, melt these Oscars down. You can have them. No, that would be cool.
I was I never had those rules. We had like the, you know, finish your glass of milk before, you know, you get off from the table.
Milk?
Yeah, you got to drink your milk, but no, never the, you know, if you finish your meal, you can have a dessert, because I think I was eating a dessert with every meal.
The reason it was a rule for me is because I would have rather skipped the entire meal and just ate the cake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll just eat the cake as my meal. That's
Yeah.
fine with me. You know, I don't need, I don't know, lasagna and all that other shit. It's good, but like, who needs it?
Oh, it's
Give me the
definitely
cake, you know?
Yeah, I had a big problem with my weight. But
So how old are you now? Just put things in perspective. How old are you?
28.
You're 28.
Mhm.
And so this is probably like 10 years of acting and trying to do other stuff. How recently did you go into acting, pursuing it as a career? Like, when did you quit being a what is a bodybuilder? What was he?
personal trainer.
Personal trainer, the one.
2000, it was November of 2018.
So it's fairly
Relatively
recent.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And now, as of today, this moment, sitting on the couch, like, you are a full-time actor. Like, you do acting full-time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So it is
super cool.
possible.
It's certainly possible. I have some part-time jobs just to like supplement income and everything, but I have the flexibility with the work to audition every single day, to have time off to go onto film sets, to work consistently. So I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful to be doing that.
Do you really? I'm not saying you don't, but like, fuck the headphones and the microphones for 1 second, because I know it can feel like you're on a show, so you have to say certain things. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's bullshit. Are you really lucky, or did you fucking put work in? Because you are very good. I mean, you send your self-tapes that you sent to me when I cast you for my... I mean, I had you read for multiple roles, too.
Oh, yeah?
Nobody else read for multiple roles.
Oh.
I swear to God, I either had them read... Actually, one kid did, and it was a casting mistake, but that's all right. So, we don't name names. Listen. What I'm saying, though, is that... I had you read for multiple roles because I felt like you could handle them, and I wanted to put you in certain areas, you know what I mean, and see what you could do with the characters and stuff. You're a very talented actor. Some of it's talent, some of it's talking to knowing the right people. But if you never went into acting, I wouldn't even know you exist.
Yeah.
So like there has to be some form of like grit that goes into it. You know what I mean? You don't just get lucky, is what I'm saying. Like, blow me with that. You can't.
It's I think for me, it's a discipline game. I keep my expectations very low. You know, like auditioning is so much of your work as an actor.
Right.
Just being able to audition. You're very lucky to be getting a callback audition. And just being in that room or that Zoom, being able to perform and read lines and act opposite someone, that's the majority of the work. And I keep my expectations low, and I think that's just how I am with my work. I love the work, but there's also you need to be realistic about the industry that you're in.
Right.
So I always keep it kind of, I keep my expectations low. So one, I don't get disappointed, because if I know plenty of my friends that get very, very excited about, oh yeah, I get another callback. I got to this other callback, but they never get it, and they're really heartbroken about it. And that happens if you really get attached to a character during the audition process. But for the most part, I mean, it's part of the industry. You have to understand it. I mean, I've definitely had
what I'm saying is
experiences like that.
When you say, like, you know, I've been very lucky, like, how many roles have you not gotten that you've auditioned for?
Most of the roles I auditioned for, I haven't gotten.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking you when I say that. What I mean, though, is like,
that's
you can't.
part of the job.
You can't, right, of course, but you can't. I don't want you to think in your head, because I care about your mental health. I don't want you to think in your head that it's just luck, and maybe it's like, oh, if you pick the right card, then there you go, the magic trick's over, and that's like, you work very hard. You can't.
Yeah, I mean,
you keep your expectations of getting the role low. That's fine, but you can't say that you don't put the fucking work in, kid. Because it's clear that you do.
Yeah, I do my best to put the work in. The luck side of it is that you do need a little bit of luck in the industry. A lot of it is work. A lot of it is discipline and everything. But the idea of being grateful for it is that I'm very grateful for the work opportunities I get to have.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah,
I'm very, very grateful, because you know, it's a huge industry. It's tons of people are grinding at it every single day. So when you get to be on a film set and act and do what you love, I'm grateful every single time I get to be on a film set.
Well, especially when it comes to like we can talk about this too, on the casting side of things. Like, how many people that were similar look to this did you have audition or get self tapes for the movie that you did for Cadillac that you put John in? Well, I'm just saying, like, there's probably a bunch of different people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Whole wide range. You tend to have people, like, you put the description in there on Backstage, you just ignore it completely. In terms of, like, you put 20s, and you got some guy who's like 48, like, doing
always.
So you're gonna have a wide range of stuff. I mean, yours was the first one that came in for Cadillac, if I remember correctly. It was the first submission, and then like and that definitely helped, because it was like, I'm gonna remember this because it's the first one. It was like the first time I ever done casting. And you compare like
everybody else to that first
2 years,
one.
exactly. Right. Yeah, and then like I had a lot of kids come in that were like good actors, but just too young and stuff. But you fit that mold perfect, because I needed someone who looked like mature enough, like that they had some years in experience,
but still young enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
It's exactly why I needed him. It's just funny. Like,
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So-
it was perfect.
No, and I mean, like you said earlier, I feel like that's a tough thing to do. Like, I've never done that. But, like, when you're just talking into the camera and no one... Like, what do you prefer, in person or the self-tape as a first?
I don't know if I have a preference. I really like auditioning.
Okay.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just had a couple auditions this week.
In person?
Both Zoom. And with the directors, and I was reading with someone. One of them I was reading with the actor who they had cast as the lead. They were present during the audition process, so I got to read alongside them. And I just love auditioning. It's really fun.
Okay.
To do it.
Because I've heard, like, a lot of differing things. Like, a lot of people feel like self-tape is there's less pressure because you're not, like, in a room with someone. You have a chance to, like, do multiple tries. But
yeah, I definitely feel
strike,
that.
Actor strike, people are trying to get self-tapes banned. Like, they don't want to have self-tapes anymore.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a huge portion of the strike right now. It's the page 96 of their requests or whatever, is that actors can't afford cameras and setups and lights in their own house and everything else. So I say that's pathetic. Go borrow somebody's cell phone.
Like,
you know what I mean?
The quality of the video and the production shouldn't matter.
100%
the performance would come through.
Your self tape you sent to me was a cell phone.
Yeah, it was on a cell phone.
I'm still doing it
in the dark.
Yeah.
In the dark. It's bad lighting.
I think the other like, who cares if you can?
I finally
light
got a
the
ring
scene.
light after that.
What's that?
I said, like, who cares if you can light the scene? We're
no,
gonna have
I want to
lighting
see
people
the
do that.
right,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, I want to
It's
see the kid, and I want to hear his voice,
Right,
and I want to see
yeah.
him do an acting thing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see him act out the sides that I sent.
Sure.
I don't want, I want to see if he can learn the stuff. There are so many. I have reviewed over 1,000 self tapes, not for that one film, but in this career that I've done, literally over 1,000 self tapes, and not just from my films, but from helping people cast films and submitting things on Backstage and producing things. Like, that's a lot of self tapes, and the amount of actors who are camera or phone or whatever it is pulling up the sides and don't even look at the camera, they just read lines off of the thing. It's easy. It's easy. Next person. They go, oh wow, I can't believe they didn't pick me. Really? Fuck, really?
Yeah, just the memorizations, so much of it.
Exactly. But there's talent involved too, and there's, like, becoming that character in the moment as well. It's different from theater, don't get me wrong, because you have to stay in character for that hour and a half that you're on stage. But I'm not casting John Potvin in a film. I'm casting you as this character in the film. So if you can't transform a little bit, I don't want you. And you know me, I like characters. Like, you have to have. There's got to be something there, something that's different. Because you talk to regular people all the time, but regular people are fucking boring. So if the scripts that I like to shoot, that I like to make, there's something there about them. They're torn inside, or they're, like, overexcited about life, or whatever it is. So if you can't portray that, and you're used to just being the pretty lady or the pretty guy or the whatever it is, and you just want to read lines, not the movie. You're not going to get with me anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean.
But you did very well, is my point. For an Irish guy to play an Italian mobster, it was very good.
Yeah,
in a non-cheesy way too. I got a lot of people who were, hey, oh, and it was like, oh god.
So much of once I finish a film set, I kind of, like, forget how to be an actor. I don't have, like, any method or anything that I do.
Right.
I'm very instinctive, and it's my process is more of, as I got into the industry, failure is my best teacher. I screw up, I suck, and then I kind of bully myself into never doing it again. So I'm learning really hands-on, like, as I'm performing.
Do you ask for notes?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. If I really feel like I want to do it again, but that was another skill, just getting comfortable enough to ask the director if we could do it again. I had to learn that. I mean, just recently in the last 2.5 years, I finally got comfortable with rewatching my own self-tapes because I was so overly critical of myself. But it's all those things of just, you just getting comfortable in your performances and in the characters that you're creating. And a testament to you guys, self-tapes are very fun when it's good writing. When it's really well written, it's really fun to perform a variety of different ways. So when you get a script and they go, if you want to send in a couple takes, I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to send in a couple takes. And it's fun because I'll do it and then you go, oh, that was all right. That was a nice safe take or something, but let's run it again.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you send in another one. It's a little bit different. Then you send in something else and it's a little bit different. And then, you know,
or like with me, I'll be like, read for this other character entirely that you didn't even apply for.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, you know, read for this character, read for that, read for this. It's, you know, I don't really have any, not much to say on that. I like auditioning a lot, but it makes it a lot easier when it's a good script for sure.
Well, I mean, there's probably something cool about
RJ's the real writer here.
There's probably something like magical though about like going into a room and like feeling like you nailed it because it's like one shot.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be like a high.
Yeah.
Well, and don't get me wrong, you get to schmooze, and if the director and like a casting agent and everybody's right there in front of you, you get to shake hands, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how many auditions I've had that I haven't walked out and thought, wow, I sucked, or like I'm really proud of myself. You have to, I kind of, once, you know, I do a lot of prep time to make sure I can be off book, that I can get in the headspace of the character. And I'm a very instinctive actor. Right now I am anyway, but I try to go on instincts and kind of how I'm feeling about this particular scene. And then when I read it, I try to, once I'm done with the audition, I try to disassociate from that almost immediately because I like to move on. Because once that audition's over and they go, thank you very much.
You assume you didn't get it. And you
I assume you didn't get it. You have to
next
disassociate, but that also gives you some freedom in the audition room to be like, whatever happens, happens.
Sure.
It's going to be fine, but if I take a risk, maybe if I'm not good for this project, I'll be good for the next project. So you just want to stand out. I think it's more important to stand out than to, like you said, like have someone just bullet point there and try to do everything that they said. You want people that show a little bit of flair, show a little something.
I feel like there's because acting, I mean, as far as I know, I'm not an actor. Last time I acted in anything I was 15. But there's got to be some it's going to be difficult for some people to like separate the emotional, like you I'm really not a fan. I actually tend to not submit sides to actors that are emotional scenes of any kind because they always tend to blow it out of proportion. And for someone like, he's not here, I would love to have him on the show. We were just talking about him, Brandon Wahlberg, right?
Yeah, Brandon.
So Brandon was in the same film as you. Wasn't in your scene, so he wasn't there on the day. But he had like 4 lines, and his character was very like didn't have a lot of like paragraphs of dialogue. He's very soft-spoken like character, and I ended up auditioning him. His self-tape, and then calling him back so I could sit there, and we talked for like an hour and a half about the character and like figuring out like yeah, he doesn't have a lot of lines, but there's a lot of acting involved, and he's kind of the go-to guy for a lot of things, and he helps out these other characters in a bunch of different respects. So it's super important, and he got it. I mean, thank God. It's Brandon. He's amazing. Very good, very talented actor. So that's helpful. But if you're, the thing I mean about the emotional stuff is if you don't get the role, it's got to be difficult, especially for newer actors. They take it personally.
Yeah.
It's like there's 50 of you, you know? I'm going for the one that I feel when I watch a self-tape, and tell me if I'm wrong, RJ, like the way you feel about it. But like when I watch a self-tape, I want to feel like I can close my eyes and listen to the self-tape and watch my movie, right? And if I can't feel that way for any reason, then we got to change it up. We got to change it up and maybe swap roles or swap to something else. And if you don't get picked, it's not a personal thing. I'm just trying to make a movie. And this is what I see. This is my vision that I have. And I've actually called actors that auditioned for other roles on separate films entirely, haven't even asked them to audition for the new film that I'm doing, and then be like, hey, I have a role for you based on an audition you did for a previous production. Just because it's like that would work for this, you know? So, I mean, how do you not take it personally? How do you like disassociate yourself from those, or just because you've done so many? I don't know. Was it different in the beginning? I'm asking.
In the beginning, yeah. It's hard not to take it personally.
And you go, I suck.
Yeah, you just go, I suck. And then for some reason, because actors are all crazy, you just keep doing it. And you're like, all right, well, I suck, but, I got another one. And then you go in and you might not probably won't get it. And then you go, oh, wow, I suck. And then you go into another one. And it's kind of over and over and over because you're waiting for that momentary high when you get cast.
Right.
Or when you get a callback. Even just a callback's a nice high. But I learned kind of quickly, kind of disassociate, just because as long as I was happy with my performance, that's the only thing I can really control. And I've spent a lot of my life trying to like control what other people thought of me, or trying to control like how I would like other people to see me. And when you do disassociate a little bit, just go, I'm just going to give my best. I'm going to give my all for this audition. And then when you walk out, it could just be that they go, that was a great read. We need him 5 years older. We need him 3 years.
Yeah, it has so little to do with the actual actor.
Once you walk out of the room, once you're in the room, it's really not up to you.
Yeah.
And you need to really allow yourself to understand that and just be like, it's not up to me. So whatever happens, happens. And that's been very helpful in my career, to just disassociate. But again, like, I love, so much of it is also like, once you walk into the audition room, it's so much about how you're meeting with these people and talking to them. You want also people to know that not only do you respect their script, you respect their work. That's a big pet peeve of mine, is when an actor thinks they're above a script when someone's giving them the opportunity to audition. Like that, I just don't understand that. And I've worked with several people like that, where it's just, they have such a interesting perspective on, the script, the director, they're being paid to be there and everything. And, it's really an honor that they got the role, and they just want to come in there and start like directing the whole thing. And it's very strange.
Do that in the audition, or just on set?
You can just kind of tell that
how the production's going to go.
Yeah, you can just kind of tell. And it usually always goes that way. So, I mean, so much of it too is, like with you guys, is that you also want to know that you're capable of working with each other. That's another big thing. If you get on an audition and you're I like to think that you try to be kind, you be respectful of the work, be respectful of the script.
Sure.
You do help your odds a little bit, but also there's a level of professionalism. You need to make sure you go in there and say, hey, I'm going to act the shit out of this scene that you wrote. Yeah. But, also thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah. Being polite is definitely good. No, you're easily, and I am not knocking anybody else, because I'm really not. And I've worked with a ton of like professional actors who will watch this episode guaranteed. And then text me and be like, what do you have me on? Okay. But, you are one of the most professional people that I've worked with. Like, and I mean the way your attitude on set, like the way that you are there, you're present. I can give you notes. I don't have to give you, and I don't mind. Listen, I love directing. It's so much fun. Being on set is a high for me. It's better than like, I've never done it, but I'm assuming it's better than like heroin. You know what I mean? Like I love being on set. But when I can just throw a note to you on a specific word on paragraph 3 of a monologue that you're giving and be like, just change this, put a little bit more emphasis on that, and you go, got it, and that's it. It's so cool, because it shows how much you give a shit about what we're trying to accomplish, and that's super important. Not everything has to be a huge discussion. All right, everybody take 10. Let me pull you aside, hand around the shoulder. Okay, John, so in this scene, again, here's what I need from you, buddy. On take 10. I can't do that all the time. And so it's like you have to be able to show up and know your shit and just be able to jump right in and like be firm enough that you can hold it up in a scene, but also be like silly putty in the sense that if I need you to change something major or minor, like you got to be able to change it.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to be a chameleon.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not just trying to, gas you up here.
Thank you.
But like you are very professional, at least on set. Offset.
You can flip the switch too. Like you were saying with like the Lord of the Rings things, watching that. Because I remember when we were shooting that apartment scene, we were joking around. And then when I needed to do that push in, when you lay on the bed and you're like watching the TV, like you go from like joking around to like in it.
Yeah.
Like you could see it in the eyes. Just
immediately.
Like shift.
Yeah. It's
which
great.
I don't think a lot of people can do. I mean, because you have method actors too who just like
I can't
don't know if
stand
you've
that
ever
shit,
worked with
you
that.
know.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
deal with it. Like, and if they're really talented, like if we're working someday on a big set, you know, multi-million-dollar whatever, and like we have to deal with a method actor because he's right for the role, like I'm going to.
And if it's
I will-
Daniel Day-Lewis, you're like, sure.
but that's my point.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if it becomes a real pain in the ass,
Mhm.
like you start to look for stuff like that in auditions. I'm talking from the perspective of someone who's doing the casting or someone who's producing the film. It's like, in the future, like, do you really want to deal with somebody who's like annoying on set because we're shooting a period piece? It's 2025, whatever year it is, right? But we're shooting something and the guy's playing George Washington and we got to call him George Washington all over set all day long. It's like, fuck, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? You know? They didn't have Twinkies in 1776. So
Yeah, right.
get away from the crafty thing.
Yeah.
Like, what, you know?
He's that
It's like,
crafty with the wig on.
It's
Call me
like-
George.
yeah. God,
Are you gonna
Mr.
finish those
President,
cheeses?
yeah, exactly. You know, it's not that I don't believe that some actors need to have the method like acting style. Like I get it and I understand why people do it, especially on longer shoots. But like, you got to be able to communicate. You know, you used to do a very good job of that. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy that.
Yeah, I
That
would
was
love
the
to. I would
case.
love to try method for a role once.
Yeah, try it
Yeah.
on RJ's set. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever
yeah.
worked with someone who's done it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worked with a couple people. It's just whatever works for the person. You know,
Yeah.
Everyone has their own technique, and all respect to them. I would love to. I'm just interested in doing better work as I get further into the industry. I just did a film recently, and I will name drop it. It's called Lobster Trap by Eric and Charlie, this directing acting duo. And I was just a supporting role. I came on there, and me and Charlie have this really kind of like gut-wrenching screaming scene at each other, and he and I got somewhere in our performance that is where it became like almost like a blackout where you're in it.
Yeah.
Like you're in it 110%. And it's easy and I can get into it like that, but we were on a different plane of like existence. And at the end of it, I mean, we're both exhausted after the shoot and everything, but it was definitely a very memorable moment for me on set. And
then people will feel that too when they're watching it.
I think they'll definitely
Yeah.
feel it, but whatever Charlie and I hit, yep, that's the one. Yeah, Lobster Trap. There I am. Yeah, so there's Charlie right there. There's Charlie and Eric, yeah. Great crew. And great scripts. Just a really, really cool film. I'm excited for that one to come out. And again, just to get that. Oh, there's Max. There's just to get I got a supporting role as his brother on that one, and just to do that was it was great.
Cool, good stuff.
Yeah, really, really great film.
I'm trying to see if there's
Yeah.
a picture of you in there, but go ahead. I'm listening. You can talk.
Good for you, Charlie. He's a very, very talented director, writer, and actor. Yeah, I was very, very impressed.
Nice.
But yeah, so
Hey, look at this handsome
hey,
guy.
there I am. But yeah, you have moments like that, and it's all. No, I should really update this.
Oh, you look good. It looks like you.
But yeah, it does.
Or your brother.
Or my twin. Yeah.
Buddy, that scared the shit out of me. I walked up to
yeah.
we were
you
at
guys met.
we were at
yeah.
a film festival and I walked up to your brother and I almost like slapped him on the butt, you know, to be like, "Hey, Johnny boy," you know, like just something, and then it wasn't you.
But like there's
But you
there's
didn't.
something.
You didn't complete the.
No,
No.
it was a thought of mine. I had the
Oh.
thought, you know,
Naturally.
before I
Yeah.
because then I think at one point he might have like glanced over at me and then didn't react to me, and because we were both standing right there, like we walked up.
Yeah.
And then he like
But when he turned around, like you do look very similar, but there is something like
we were in a
I
nightclub.
can't put
Yeah.
it, but like
In the dark.
you know.
We thought it was John.
Yeah.
We both were
Well,
like,
from a distance, but I'm
Sure.
saying when we went
Yeah.
up to talk to him, yeah.
My brother is. We did a film together down in Miami, a couple years ago, and he's. If push comes to shove, he can act. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny too. He would do good in a comedy.
Does he not do it? Does he just kind of is he as committed to it as you are? Like
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, he doesn't do it. But if I got cast and they were like, "Oh, we want your twin
Mhm.
to be on it," he is the type of guy to like drop everything and go do
let's
it.
Were you
Yeah.
guys really close growing up?
We're still close.
No,
We've been closer.
Like, has it always been like that? Or some people are,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's always been like that for
like
us.
Like the twin telepathy shit.
There is some truth to that for sure. There's definitely some truth to that.
Do you guys say like the same shit at the same time? Or
yeah, that happens a lot.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, we say the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of different instances like that where we're just like, sometimes you'll feel anxious one day, and then you'll figure out like they were anxious, and you'll go, oh, that's why I was anxious.
Interesting.
Nothing to do with like you'll have the best day ever, but they'll have a bad day,
and it's from them.
You'll feel a little strange for it.
Sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of is.
Okay.
Nick's not buying it.
I'm not gonna buy shit. That's fine.
I'd buy
but
it.
saying the same thing too. If someone asks us a question, we'll turn and say the exact same thing at the exact same time, exact same cadence.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting
cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to do stunt work together down in Miami. We got to like fight each other, and that was pretty fun.
Interesting. Was the character fighting a version of himself?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it was
so
like
funny.
it was like a time bending thing.
Funny. Of course it was.
Yeah, we were fighting each other. And
you
stuff,
and Ezra Miller fighting yourselves.
Yeah, we were in like these black skinny jeans. It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was bad it was hard to move around in those, but we got to do full fight choreography and stuff, and fake blood all over each. Yeah,
nice.
it was cool.
That's cool. So, like you've done a ton of films, right? Without naming names, but I gotta have one because I'm gonna ask everybody. It doesn't matter your position or role on set. What's like a crazy set story that you remember? And you can, instead of naming names, you can say like the director or the other actress in the scene or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to. But you got to give me something good, because this isn't the Tonight Show, kid. You got to open up. People want to hear the grueling truth.
Ingesting vitamin B powder.
That's up there.
Alley.
That's up there for sure.
Was it really that bad?
Well, because they were lining the $100 bill with Vaseline, being like, "Oh yeah, the vitamin B powder will just go up there to do the fake Coke," and it all went into my face.
I saw that on like a Goodfellas behind the scene.
Yeah, and so, but I definitely at the end of that day, I had a pounding headache. That's for sure.
Oh god.
Oh
but
yeah,
you had your vitamins.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
you think I'd feel better, but
vitamin B powder was the fake cocaine.
Yes,
that your character had to snort. And it was funny because you can always tell when someone has never done anything before, because it's you, and I mean on the crew, because you'll say, okay, I need a line. We'll do the character's doing lines, you know what I mean? And then you'd have, I don't know, one of the PAs or one of the other team members go set up the scene, and
it's like a clump
they're
of
pouring like lines of this.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like $3,000 of fake cocaine. What are you doing?
Chalk outline of a body.
Yeah.
Like,
what the hell is this? It's not. We're not building a sandcastle here, right? Like it's just a little line. So that's always funny. But
I'd say craziest experience, that movie I did with my brother. We had been doing our stunts for the final day. We got there early. We were doing all the rehearsals and stuff, and we were filming in an old retail store with these very, very hard tile floors.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing our rehearsals for like 4 or 5 hours, and then we started going up to picture, and we take and I thought we were going to be cheating it, so like the safety mats would stay on, and they slid the safety mats out.
Oh, what was that like?
And on the first take, I tore my rotator cuff.
Oh shit!
And then we just kept shooting for like 6 hours.
Do you have any problems with your currently with your?
I did have to fix it, like with PT work and everything. But,
you didn't have to get surgery?
No, I didn't have to.
Nice.
But in between every single take, the director was like running up to me with an ice pack and throwing it on my shoulder and
so
like
Tiger.
Oh yeah, I was like, this
he didn't like force you.
Well, because I couldn't even lift it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even lift it by the end of the shoot. I couldn't lift
that
it.
Won't
like
have lasting
any other
effects. Depending on how long I do the show for, we'll have you back on in 20 years, and then we'll talk about your rotator cuff again.
Yeah, but it feels great. Yeah. No, it feels great. I was very cautious with it, but man, that was. I remember in the hotel room just being so gutted about it because I was just my rotator cuff's not working. I'm
and you practice all these moves.
Yeah, it's fine. And I'm taking it on things that don't matter. I'm like, I bet it looks like shit.
Yeah,
like the movie probably. This movie better win a fucking award. I broke my rotator cuff. I was such a baby.
I mean, we're all babies. I think that's the thing, is like you're a creative person, so you want to. I would say for people on the not acting side, like behind the camera, me, RJ, right? Like the second we wrapped Cadillac, he's like, "Oh, we got to do the next. What's the next thing we're gonna do?" I'm like, "This isn't even edited yet." He's like, "Yeah, but I want to move on." You know, because how long did you live with Cadillac in your head before we shot it? I mean,
a few years.
Right?
I started like coming up with that idea probably in 2020.
yeah, we shot it
We shot it
2022.
2022, yeah.
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 So I mean, it's like a while. And for you, how long? But you were in my movie that January. We shot in March. So
So that moved pretty fast.
you were still
Yeah.
like auditioning in when we were doing the January shoot. So for you, it was just a few weeks. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this looks great and
What a
everything.
gr-
I'm like,
What
yeah.
a great cast that was on Cadillac.
It
That
was
was a fun
really,
time.
really
That
well
was
done.
such a great cast.
It was. It was a good time. We could talk about it more. Go.
Yeah.
Talk
No,
about
I
Cadillac.
mean, he's right. I mean, that, because it's tough, because when you do a mob movie,
Into the mic would be nice.
sorry. When you
Just
do
so
a
that people
mob
at home
movie,
can hear
it's
you.
tough because there's so many. It's tough to not make it cheesy. You know what I'm saying? And make it feel like it's kind of contrived.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought like you and Cecilia like had that energy to make that work. Because she's in it so little.
Yeah.
She really needs to like
Yeah.
pop.
Just watching that film was like, I would love to see a continuation of like Frank's guys or Frank going after my
Yeah.
character
Mm-hmm.
and me and Mary on the run.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert. But yeah, like Cecilia was fantastic, and sitting down with Savino and doing those scenes in Monica's, like that was, he and I got into that space as well, where we were
Yeah.
just like, we were right on top of each other. Like we knew exactly where the energy was, where we needed to be, what was going to happen. And Savino was fantastic to work with. And then Brandon too, just
Yeah.
that quick little scene I have with Brandon
was
too,
fun.
but that was a really like fun dialogue scene to have with him.
Mm.
Because he's a natural. He's such
Well,
a
that's what I
natural
was
with
gonna
that
say.
stuff.
It's fun. Like I was comfortable allowing you guys to just go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew you obviously knew the lines and Brandon too, but like as long as you get the idea of what you need in that scene, like for something like that, you want to really show the connection that these two characters have.
Yeah.
You know, so that was great.
Yeah, that back and forth. And again, I just got to play off everyone really nicely because the scenes are very fluid in that sense. The dialogue's very intentional, which is one thing I really like in any script, is that the dialogue's supposed to get you from point A to point B. And when you're watching Cadillac, these scenes are getting you from one place to
you don't
another.
want to like it can't meander and kind of have no
Right.
purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super difficult to, I'm sure, to write a full beginning, middle, and end story in 15 pages or whatever it ended up being, you know? And so to like, I don't know, to have that, you have to be direct, but you also can't be too quick. You can't leave things out, but you also don't want it to be boring. I don't know. I signed up to help RJ with Cadillac before I even read the script. I just saw the pitch video you were doing on Indiegogo. And that's when I emailed you. And I was like, yo.
Well, the way I like looked at it was like, if you're gonna do that, like you have to split it in the 3 acts still, right? So you have to like I don't know, like the call to action. I don't know if you like ever read like Joseph Campbell, like the hero's journey type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like the call to action is like the moment where the character, something significant happens. So like I was like, okay, we need that. So that's when Mary leaves him. Then the like second act is like you with Savino, and then it's like that darkest moment, right? The all is lost before the third act is you in the apartment, and then you have the conclusion. So you kind of just had to like cut out every middle part out to make that, but it's tough. That's why like shorts are tough for me to like write because of that, because you really have to condense. That's why it's impressive when you do see a great short, that like what they're able to do in that small period of time.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Cadillac there was a lot of talent on that set.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like really in every department. I mean, we had the best sound person. We had exactly the best actors, best director for it, because you wrote it too. Like it was like you knew the vision you wanted.
You got to give yourself credit too, Nick.
I have no credit.
Yeah, but
Rolling
the fact,
cigs,
but having you there to like keep things moving,
Yeah.
that was.
You can talk about me, by the way. You can absolutely call me an asshole. Like I don't care. I can take it.
I don't think you're an asshole.
Explain.
I think you're the type of director I like working with, where you understand I'm not going to waste everyone's time. You know,
Yeah.
and I've worked with people like that where I don't know if they just don't have any spatial awareness, but they just don't understand that they're wasting time. And
Yeah.
It's like critical thinking too. Like I don't know how to. I'm incredibly self-deprecating, and I am very aware of, and I think part of it has to do with my upbringing. And I'm not knocking my parents; they're very good parents, but I think part of it has to do with my upbringing. And I didn't get asked twice to do something growing up. It was like, you need to do this the right way the first time, or you'll be in trouble.
Mhm.
Like that's the alternative, you know? So you have to get used to doing things the right way the first time. And the way that you do that, even if it takes you a little bit longer, is to like mess up. And then you don't, like, if you mess something up, you don't stop what you're doing and go tell somebody that you messed up and I need to, like, fix it. Fix the problem. How do you fix it? Learn to like to solve problems. And it's annoying on set when you're like talking with, I don't know, when everything's a conversation. Don't laugh. But
no, I remember
everything
you saying
doesn't
that.
need to be a conversation. I don't like your motivation, and if you read the script and whatever the script is, you should know your character's motivation based on the script. If you don't, you can ask what it is, but not in the middle of a take. That's not when you should be asking what your motivation is. You were cast, I think, because we shot second week of January, and I think you were cast, I want to say in late November or like around there.
Yeah.
So like I know we have Christmas, okay? Not everybody celebrates Christmas, but that's one day. And I work 7 days a week. You can, and you all have I only have one like phone number that I put out there on casting calls. Like that's my cell phone. So if you are applying for something and you see my cell phone, text me if you have a question. And I feel like there are a lot of especially newer actors, right? Like there are newer actors out there who are afraid to like, if they get a role or whatever, they just want to show up and impress and everything. Those end up being the ones, and they don't ask questions, I mean. And then they show up and they all have questions on the day. And it's like, now it's going to start screwing everything up because you've been cast for a month. What have you been doing?
Right.
I know you've memorized your lines, but like, do you understand what you're even saying? Ask me. I wrote it. Ask RJ. He wrote it. Like that's how you got to do it.
We had those meetings beforehand, which helped a lot.
Yeah. Dude, rehearsals. I love rehearsals.
Yeah.
Anytime I can have a rehearsal.
See, I don't.
I love it.
I don't love
You
rehearsals.
don't like
No. Maybe like a Zoom meeting or something like that would work, but I like a little bit of improv. I like a little bit of like finding out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hinder anybody.
Yeah.
Like the script is one version of the film, the acting is one version, and then in the editing, it's a whole third version. Lines get cut, scenes get cut, things get moved around. I edited a film. I got hired to edit a short. Oh my God, it's a few years ago now. But there were like 47 scenes. I was on set the whole time. We shot everything. We cut it down to like 22 scenes in the editing room. And I did this without even asking the director. I just showed him a cut of the film. And like I cut it and like scene 15 and scene 9, I like swapped places. I'm like, I feel like this makes more sense. And please just fire me if you don't like it. Like I'm not going to be offended. I know I totally fucked with everything that you had set up here initially. But like, does this make sense? Director's like, holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I like that. Like I like that a lot. Some directors don't. Some people, when you're editing, like they want a script cut. Like it's like, this is what it is. And then they want to make their own decisions. But like when I was editing Cadillac, like we would have little things. I'd be like, oh, does this work better like this? And you're like, yeah, I guess that does work better. Or showing certain things. You put a lot of work in on set, filming certain things. But when, as an example, and I'm sure they say this in script writing as well, like character gets home from work, right? We see the character at the desk at work working. Clock strikes 5 o'clock. You see the character punch out, see the character in the car, see the character go to the front door, get the keys and all this other shit, go to the cupboard, get a glass, pour himself a thing of milk and sit down. Or you could show him there, it says 5 o'clock and he's on the couch with a glass of milk.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you might shoot all of those different things, but in the editing room, just because you shot it doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, but people put a lot of work in and then they're like, we put all this work into that take of, we put the car rig on to see him driving for.
But then on the other hand of that, like if you're cutting it, you didn't shoot that and you feel like the pacing's off, it is nice to have stuff to work with.
So I totally agree with you 100%, because if you don't shoot it, right, you don't have it at all.
Yeah, it's better.
So like you have to shoot the stuff, even if you're not going to use it.
Your safety stuff, basically.
100%. But on the side of back to like acting and stuff like that on set, like the I like when there's a little bit of improv on the actor's part. I like with actors, especially if it's going to help the scene, when they try something during a take. If you make me laugh during a take, if I fuck up a take, I'm the guy writing the checks. You can make me laugh. I don't care. If I fucked it up, I fucked it up, and we'll do it again. But if something happens that's like that magical kind of happy accident thing, if you have tons and tons of like granted with fight scenes and things like that, you need to have rehearsals and things need to be choreographed and all that other stuff. I totally get that. When you're having a conversation at a bar, you and two other people, have the conversation like we're doing right now. Do something, but like do it in character. So what would your character be doing? And I don't want to know your interpretation of the character. I want to see your interpretation of the character. If I wanted to know, I'd have you send me an email about it, you know?
Right.
So rehearsals are good, especially for getting to know your other castmates, especially if you're supposed to be like best friends.
Rehearsals too also, I think, are important for your intentionality with the scenes. And I like that component of it when the director and the producer are saying, this is the intention of the scene. This is your character's motivation. Here are the lines. That's your roadmap. Get from point A to point B.
I feel like I did this with you before the audition, even.
Well, yeah.
Like I sent you a huge email. I'm like, I really want you to try this other character. And
It's just like fleshing it out.
Thing.
Because then when you get on set, there's so much other shit you have to worry about. It's nice to have that.
And I've just found like whatever I picture in my head is going to happen on set never actually happens on set. And that's just how it is with life. If you have these expectations of like, it's going to look exactly like this and I want it to be like this, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. So, but knowing, okay, at this scene, I'm supposed to be in this emotion and I have my dialogue, I'm working with my co-star. But then when you get on set, you see the set, you get into the space, you feel the energy, you start vibing off the other co-star. Then that's when I feel like the most natural improv starts. Because it's your instincts leading at that point.
I saw an interview, and I can't remember who it was with, but the guy was an actor, and he said that when he reads a script, he reads everybody else's lines as well as his own, but like it's not just learning your own lines. Like when you're like reading the scene, because you're reacting to what they're saying the way you are reacting to what I'm saying right now. So like I don't know, something as simple as like you nodding your head when I say something like you just did, right? Like that, right? Yeah. So it's like when you're only learning your lines, it doesn't say in the script anywhere nods head. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So you're
it's instinctive.
It's instinctive. So if you read everybody else's line and then think to yourself, okay, if they said this to me, what would I do? I feel like that helps as well.
Yeah,
because it shows up super robotic when you don't. When you're on set and you're just filming something,
you're just waiting for their lips to stop so you can say.
So you can say your stuff, and that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like you're just trading spaces, trading camera time. So
yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. And also just like with auditions, and
I love John. Yes, I absolutely agree.
with auditions too, they'll give you your lines and everything, but there's so much context with the other character for that scene.
Yeah.
They don't give you a character description. They go, this is the scene, this is the age and what this person does for a living. Can you do this audition? And you go, okay. But then when you actually read it and see what's going on, and you're like, okay, this guy is yelling at his little sister or something. Yeah. That changes the context of the scene.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so what the other character is saying is incredibly important, because sometimes it might just be they really just want your reaction. We're looking for an actor to say these 3 lines, but this person's yelling at you, and we want to see different stages of your grief and your realization that you messed up or whatever it may be. But yeah, and so absolutely, I think just knowing the story so much, and you'll see that when you're on set too. Like a lot of people, maybe the script supervisor knows, but like anyone else on set, they'll be like, "What are we shooting? What's going on right now? What's happening?"
Yeah.
But if you ask the cast. And I mean, I've actually been on set sometimes with the actors, like, so what happens after my scene? And you're like, you haven't.
See, I feel like I don't act, but I feel like if I was an actor, I wouldn't be able to work like that. I feel like I need to know like where things are going.
But it's also a matter of read the whole script. I think But then, you know, if you're a supporting character, you can hone in on your scene because that's really the scene that you need. But understanding the other character's motivations is important.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't want to get lost in the whole story of it and have that pull you out of your scene.
Yeah. We talk a lot about like Christopher Nolan and stuff like that on the Movie Mob podcast.
He doesn't have phones on set, no chairs.
Well, I'm saying imagine trying to develop a character in a linear way. Like yesterday for breakfast, this character had this, for lunch, dinner, work, all this other stuff, and then today and all this stuff. And then you read a Christopher Nolan script where you start with lunch, and then you do dessert, and then you see the character sleeping, and then it's breakfast time all in the same day. And you're like, how do you prep for something like that? You have to be able to ask questions. I just think that communication in any relationship, whether it's director, actor, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or whatever, anytime you're working with other people on anything, like it's super important that you are clear. And I try to be as crystal clear as possible on set.
Yeah. So one of the things I appreciate about you is that no one has to guess what you're thinking.
Ever.
And
like think like I'm literally a like robotic in some sense, like just dumbed down. Like
the worst thing for an actor too is to think internally to themselves is like, is this what the director wants?
Yeah.
The best thing for the director to show up, even if they're the biggest asshole, to just say,
like me,
to just say, this is what I want. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes things very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like.
And they're hiring you to bring that vision to life.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure it does it well.
Tarantino says, like, because he doesn't really like improv, he's like, just read the damn lines. But like, I'm not like.
Well,
that.
when improv's wrong,
right. But like for him, it's like sometimes he just hits that point where it's like
Tarantino's also at that level too. It's just like
yeah,
he's such a great writer that you could just. You know, you don't need to to mess too much with the script.
He already improv'd in his room.
But then other times, like some directors really, their strength is letting actors really inhabit those pages.
Yeah, I think from a directing standpoint, RJ, you can absolutely weigh on this. Like I always want to do at least one take that is exactly like the script. Just do it. Just do it so we have it, you know? And then we can kind of fuck around a little bit. As long as we get it. Because if we get it, then the movie's good. Like, or we've shot the film, whatever the film is, right? But if you're gonna do one and then do like a funsy take, or like maybe as a director, the thing is, right? You gotta imagine it like a canvas. You're making a painting, and all the actors are the different colors, and the set is the different colors. You're gonna put all the paint. The crew is all the brushes and stuff, and you have total control over like what ends up being the final thing, right? So it's more like being a quadriplegic painter, because your editor is the person who does the physical painting,
right?
You know, so you're sitting there going, that doesn't go there, put it over there, you know, like that color, whatever it is.
Right, and you get wheeled around.
Exactly, and you just yell at people, which I'm good at. I don't get wheeled around, though. I'm going to be carried like those ancient Egyptian kings. Like, that would be cool.
I could see that.
Yeah, that'd be strong boys. But it would be a fun thing. No, but the what I mean by that, though, with the painting analogy is that, like, you have to be able to work with paints that have emotions and are real people, right? Like, you can't be a complete asshole. But like, you also want to be able to kind of allow, you can say to a good like DP who knows what they're doing, be like, yeah, you want to stick the camera like up this guy's nose? Like, that's fine. I need to see a wide shot first so that I have it for the edit. And then if you want to hang the camera upside down or put it down his pants, like, that's up to you if that's how it's going to like creatively fulfill you. Because I might use it, and I like the reason I like the improv with the cast and the crew, and those funsy takes and everything else is because sometimes you're not always right. No one is 100% right all the time, even the director, even on their own film, even if they wrote and directed it. So it's like, we got to get what you want to get. Fine. I get bitchy at that point when we don't have what we need to get, because if we do our jobs the right way, we have time for funsy shit. If we can't even do the script cut, like, we can't do anything. We're not making a movie. So like, if we can get the right thing the right way with all the actors and the crew and everything, and then the actor wants to like, well, what if I said this, or I would react this way, I feel like this character, after we've gotten the right thing, it might be better. But just in case it's not fucking better, let's just get the thing that makes sense, that's been written down on the page. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, it really just comes down to the director. You want to, as me personally, I want to be the guy that the director can rely on to get his vision done.
No matter what that is.
Whatever it is. And like, so
I think that's why I love working with RJ on films in general, is because he's very like calm and subdued on stuff. And I am a huge advocate. When I work with RJ, I'm always ADing. Always have. I mean, we did the Cadillac one, but like RJ will definitely like lean over to me during a take or after a take and be like, does that work? Or be like, it doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work. And I'll be the, foghorn, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do they call those things the police use? Megaphone.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't have to be. And I don't mind that because it means that he can be friends with everybody. I don't care if I'm the asshole on set. I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, when we leave, RJ's like, yeah, that was, thank God, like that's all I care about all I care about is the final result. I just want it to look good. And then I'll be everybody's best friend.
Yeah. And that's like you said with professionalism, and that's a really great quality about you, RJ, is you are very calm, collected, but you don't mince words on what you want. So when we were talking about sets, when our scenes were starting, and you were going, listen, this is Jimmy's here. I need you to get from here to here in this scene. And that's why I never thought Nick was an asshole either, because I just thought like if things were slowing down, he was the right guy to be there, to be like, hey, let's get moving.
Yeah.
And so I always really respected that. But I think most people on set, because of how professional you were and how the set was, just no one really wanted to. And that's another thing about working with great directors, is that you just don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
You don't want to let them down. Like if you work with people that you genuinely respect and that are professional and they treat you well and they understand the jobs, they go, and you understand, I'm an actor, I'm here to make your vision come true. I'm the director, I'm going to direct you to make sure that my vision comes true. And you have that mutual respect. You want to work together because, you both don't want to let each other down.
Yeah.
I still feel like you're giving me way too much credit. And I only mean that because you've only been an actor with me, but you haven't been on the crew, Like I definitely give a lot more leeway to actors than I do to crew people, because you have to,
I mean, that's a totally different domain.
In this scene, the character's mom dies and in his arms, and so you have to be feeling that. And if you want me over your shoulder being like, that's not where you're supposed to be, like that's not the same thing. I mean, I appreciate their compliments and everything, but like I purposefully give as much leeway as I can to actors so that I'm not interrupting the flow. If you're supposed to be really happy, it's a birthday party or some shit, I don't know, in the scene, and I've just screamed at you because you didn't hit your mark or some shit. I can't even think of anything. But like, what's the real headspace you're going to be in? And how nervous and anxious are you to get it right then? I don't want people nervous and anxious. I want you in the flow as an actor, I'm saying.
More on Cadillac, it was nice to have your good AD because you keep us moving. And then on Line of Duty.
Yeah, don't be scared to talk about Line of Duty.
No, but Line of Duty too. I know, it's like, is that movie still?
Talk about it. You can talk about it.
I just had that one scene.
I have to reshoot it, but yeah, we can.
Yeah, right. As a 2030 release, but
yeah.
But working on that one, you were. It was the same thing. Like you let us have that freedom, but that's the same thing with RJ too. Like you're very calm with your actors.
Yeah, with actors. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously the crew needs to.
And I need to clarify because I don't treat the crew like shit, but like I just find on sets that you have not been on, like on all sets, some crew members tend to complain more than actors. There's a lot of downtime for a lot of crew people, so it can be monotonous and boring, and I totally get that. And they work for 30 seconds to set up a scene, and then they all have to shut up and sit there like statues while you perform, and then they have to go back and reset it and do it again. But there's a lot of downtime for crew people, and I don't know, it's difficult, especially when we're as young as we are and we're doing like, shoots where we're calling favors in and you have like an 18-year-old friend who's going to be a sandbag for the shoot.
Right.
And it's like, that's the person who's fucking up this take right now, is talking over there while we're doing a scene. Like, what are you doing? We can hear you. It's like, just think a little bit about where you are in your surroundings. You have to like be able to gauge read the room a little bit,
As an actor, I mean, just the two of you, that the fact that the actors that work with you don't need to guess what you want out of the scene.
Yeah.
That's, I think, where that mutual respect comes, where no one wants to let you guys down, because it's just, well, he gave us exactly what we needed to get to the scene, if we fuck that up, that's really kind of on us. So, but also, but you give us breathing room to work with that. But
how do you feel about line reads? You ever have a director like tell you how to say a line?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate that.
It happens.
Yeah, I'd fire you I'd fire an actor before I gave a line read of how I want it said, because that means I didn't cast properly.
Yeah, it happens. It hasn't happened on a film. It's happened on like commercials or something. If I need to,
it's probably more common on there.
It's
right?
very common there to be like, say it a little bit more like this, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh no! I mean like reading the line in character to you. Like this is how it's said.
Oh yeah, I've got that. But that's on commercial sets. Like, you need to say it like this, like a little bit more happy, chipper, say, and then they'll read the line out for you.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're just trying to match whatever they said.
Yeah. Wouldn't that like annoy you though, as an actor? If you're like not on commercial sets, I'm talking about on film sets. Like if you're developing a character, you know what I mean? And then they're like, no, read it like this. And it's like, why is there not a part of you that's like, well, why aren't you over here in front of the camera? Like, what the fuck am I doing?
I'll have to get back to you if that happens. But yeah, I don't know.
I've always heard that was a no as a direct.
Yeah, I mean, same. I would hate it.
know.
I feel it's embarrassing. I don't want someone telling me how to do my job, and I wouldn't want someone to tell I wouldn't want someone to tell me how to do my job if I was an actor. That's the first thing out of my mouth. I would be like, "Why? Come over, step on this side."
Yeah,
you know.
I feel like I'm so malleable when I get on set. I'm just like, whatever you need to get this character, I will harness whatever type of discipline I have to make this work for you.
I remember that.
And I will sit here for 12 hours and I will suffer and traumatically bond with all these people around me to make this happen. Because I just love being on set. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. It's got to be a whirlwind of emotional shit that you go through.
It's great. I was just down in North Carolina. I'm gonna plug myself a little bit.
Do it.
No, I want. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Please. That's the whole point.
I just got my first.
Yeah, stop talking about me and RJ. Like, what's the most recent thing that you've done? Or talk about North Carolina too. That's fine.
I just got my first Best Actor nomination that I won. That I did win. It was for the Golden Hour Film Festival.
What nomination number was it?
What's that?
What nomination number was it?
My first one.
Oh, okay. Well, you just said your first one that you won. So I meant like how many nominees did you have before then?
Oh, I did get a nomination for Open Gate for Best Actor for Cadillac. Yeah.
Might have had another one too for Cadillac.
Yeah, I don't know.
You like how I throw that in there? Fucked you up your whole story like that?
But yeah, I got this.
Told you it's not your average podcast, kid. This ain't Lex Friedman, all right?
Yeah, right.
Go.
I heard you won Best Actor.
That's pretty good.
Oh my God, that's pretty fucking good. That's good.
And
so now, my friends,
go. He's very good. I love Lex. I love the Lex Friedman.
I like
watched.
Lex too.
Yeah.
And
so when you're on set,
go.
Do you think?
I knew you were gonna do it again. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. Tell me a thing. Go ahead. North Carolina. You want a thing?
I want to think, but that film that I was on, that was
Johnny Boy.
That was a fantastic.
What was the film?
Set experience. That was called In the Pines.
Dude, this was all over Instagram a few weeks ago. Tell me about it. What's this story about?
It's still in the festival. It's about the only coup that's happened in the United States.
A real one. A real story of a real coup.
Of a real coup.
It's period piece.
It's set in 1898, I believe. The Wilmington, North Carolina coup.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was
Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I watched a trailer for this. So it kind of is set up as like someone telling a story and then the flashbacks to the 1898 thing.
Yep.
Okay, that's super cool. Talk your shit.
This film was, I got this on Backstage, and it's for a historical foundation down in North Carolina, and they won this grant. The producer, Greg, who is a very lovely man. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my entire life. He took this script that he wrote, basically, and he won this, what's it called? When you win some sort of like a grant.
Yeah, like
a
grant.
He won a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. He won a grant, basically, and his pitch was that he wanted to make this a film, like a short film or a documentary series or whatever it was. So I think the grant company hires a production company to come in and shoot it with him. So they hired this director, and then the director and the producer basically had full reign on who they wanted to hire for the crew and the cast.
Well, yeah, production company, yeah.
So they, but it wasn't like one production company. It was like the director, and then they were hiring, like they hired some sound people from
like
another
if
place.
RJ hired Wilco Media to do a shoot. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like the sound people were from somewhere else. The PAs were from somewhere else. Some people were from the foundation.
Were they union people at all? You don't
No,
know?
they were all non-union, and it was like a crew of 40 people, and
Yeah.
we all just kind of meshed together. And then the cast, a couple of my co-stars were from LA, New York. One of them was from the Netherlands, like all over the place.
Yeah.
What was the story about? Give me a synopsis, but not spoilers, but give me
It was about the first coup. So it's told from the perspective of a woman in the 60s.
okay.
And she's talking about how when she was a teenager, what was going on at this time. And she is then describing these events, what's happening, and then you're watching these events unfold. And it's about her father's newspaper. It was the last black-owned newspaper in Wilmington. And basically during this coup, they were trying to basically destroy, black-owned businesses, and they wanted to write in laws that if an officer who was black tried to arrest you could shoot them. Like that was a law that they were trying to pass, and so they did overthrow the Wilmington government. I might be completely wrong about that, but that's the general gist that I know.
Yeah,
and so
you read the script.
I read the script. It was a great script, but and I played Sam Murray, so it's me.
What's it called again?
In the Pines.
In the Pines.
Was your
the
character
Pines.
fictional?
I think he's loosely. I think everyone's loosely based. Some characters are more real than others, but everyone's kind of loosely based on actual people that lived back then. But man, what an experience that was. We were down in Wilmington for a week, and yep, there it is. There I am in the top left. There's the cast. Amazing cast.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, all the set photos look like the production design was pretty.
Yeah. Oh, there's Greg.
Elite.
I mean, some of these are it's like, okay, and I'm sure RJ, do you watch a lot of I don't know. I love watching indie films. I love indie films. I love low budget films because when they're good, they're good. Hit, dude.
When they're good.
I talk about it all the time. I know I was on it, and I don't really like to talk about my own stuff, but Cadillac is a really well done film. You pitched it well. You said you wanted to do it like emulating Martin Scorsese and all these other different directors and stories that have come out already, and it was very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
And it's shot very well, and it looks, it
looks great.
You guys had a lot to do with it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm sure John appreciates it too, but it's more about like, it just doesn't happen. And again, without naming names, because I'm not trying to say it in a mean way, but that was for Emerson College. You were at Emerson. And then you sent me a playlist of all of the films, all the capstone projects, and I watched all of them. And the other ones are okay, and they look like student films. And then there's Cadillac that looks like it should have been released in a theater. Like I'm telling you.
I mean, it goes back to what John was saying about just like acting. Like you have to go full force,
full tilt.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, like, if you're gonna make the movie, just go for it.
Yeah.
Push the funding. Get the script through multiple drafts. Like cast the actors, go through that process, and I mean, it's just it's all about dedication. How much you really want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also like bringing together like Jake on the camera and like having the right people with the same vision.
Yeah, and a lot of that being from Emerson was a benefit of just making friends there too, who were also talented.
Everyone's
and
so
that's
talented
just
there.
perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't like it's I don't know. Like Jake is an incredible DP. He was
I did another film with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an Emerson film with him. Yeah.
Nice. Recently, is this one you just wrapped?
No.
Oh.
What did I did a film called Tail with him. I was a supporting role in that one, but
I feel like I've heard who directed that.
I'm gonna not say her name right. It was Yixian Lee.
I don't know.
Yixian.
But she was
like
in
that.
Emerson.
She was very, very talented. Very talented director. Great cast and great crew.
Yeah. No,
I feel like I've heard that title before.
I don't know. I feel like there are certain. I like young DPs because they have no bad habits. I like older DPs. There are plenty of talent out there, and then they've been around the block a time or two, so they kind of get like they can get to where they want to go quicker because they don't have to try things. But I like trying new things. But like Jaden Moffat, awesome. Dan Keating, awesome. So inspired. Like they just eat, sleep, breathe like movie shots. You can't watch a movie with them without being like, oh, I wish we had a rig to do something like that. Jacob Panzer, same thing. I mean, the kid is beyond talented.
Yeah, Jake's really impressive.
The fact that like, you know, when we set up the dolly and I was helping dolly grip that scene where we did the push-in on Savino.
Yep.
And like he was just enjoying being on it. Like he'd be like, oh, do that again? Just push me back and forth again just so I can watch it in the camera. Like that's his happy place.
Yeah.
That's the kind of cinematographer that you want to work with. Someone who like lives in that camera.
Yeah.
You know? And it's it shows. Because you can say whatever you want.
Sure.
Arguing with a DP is so brutally annoying. Because like, yes, they are being creative and want to get the shots and everything. But they also have to have the same vision as the director, who's like, here's what I want to see. Like, we need to do a push-in on Savino, like to mirror the Robert De Niro shot. Like, it's got to look like that.
Yeah.
And if Jacob was like, well, that doesn't work for me, I mean, on set, then you're fucked. Because, like, you don't have anybody to, like, take over for that. You know what I mean? But he didn't. He delivered.
It's like doing meetings, though, with you and Savino and you and Cecilia, like, same thing with Jake. You have to go through the shot list. You have to talk about reference shots from other movies, and that's 100%. How you got to prepare as much as possible.
And he communicates. Like he's good. Yeah. I'm sure I wasn't in every meeting on before like pre-pro wise, but I'm sure you went over like everything.
Oh yeah,
had him watch a ton of movies and like this is what we're going for. You know?
Yeah. Jake's really good. He was so quick. Anything you threw at him, he was like,
he knows. He knows where to.
Yeah, sure. If we do it like this, we can get that.
Which is good for me because I'm not technical, and to have like a technical master like that who just kind of understands the inner workings. It's
or what's needed to accomplish certain things.
Yeah.
I don't like. This is not about Jake, but just in general, I don't like when people stifle themselves crew wise because they don't think we can get things done. Throw the craziest thing out there to me and let me be the one who screws it up by not being able to get it done. Because you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's like, we just need a ladder? Okay, let's grab a ladder then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But Jake's really good with not being like that. He's like, oh yeah, well, do we have this? Do we have that? Okay, let's do it. He's super inspired.
There's so much talent here too. I've worked with some really like outstanding.
It's cool, right? Like not to just sit here and like gloat like we're so great, but like it's the other people, like everybody we work with.
It's my favorite part of the industry is the people I get to work with.
It's awesome.
I mean, man, I mean, in the Pines, that was a once in a lifetime experience.
That's what I was saying. Sorry to interrupt you. It's about the thing with RJ doing. The reason I brought up RJ and Cadillac and everything is because it's a period piece. It takes place in the '60s. So we did a lot of set dressing and a lot of like making sure we don't see certain things that are like only available post 9/11. You gotta so it's supposed to be 1960 whatever. Everybody was smoking cigarettes constantly inside the restaurant.
Yep.
Restaurant owners are awesome. I love those guys. They're so great. And with regard to this looks good. Like the costumes are not thrown together. The sets are the sets. Like it looks really good, dude.
Yeah, and we had no rehearsal for this. We kind of got cast and then started filming kind of straight away. We all showed up and just like there's Robbie.
He looks happy.
Looking smug.
And
it's
a great shot. Looks good. Oh, that's a great shot.
So talented.
Oh my God, I love that lighting.
But and that was every day. I mean, we were there for.
Is that you or your brother? Who's that?
Yeah, right. That was Matt was doing stunts for me that day.
But I mean, there's no like you couldn't tell me that's not out of like Killers of the Flower Moon or like something. You know what I mean? Like that looks great. That looks fantastic.
Great. That's from and Dustin too was our on-set photographer. He takes some really great photos.
Sometimes, and again, I'm not knocking anybody. If you can work, and if this is what you want to do it. But like if you're doing a Lifetime movie, a Hallmark movie or something, and you see him and you go, "Fuck man, this thing's so cheap looking." You know what I mean? Like what is going on? And do you know what the budget for this film was?
I want to
give or take. I mean, roundabout. Like, what was the grant for? Do you know?
The grant really wasn't.
Didn't cover everything.
As much as I know, it wasn't enough to like cover it. And then we got donors.
Oh, I'm sure.
Greg is just like everyone loves his vision, and
sure, of course.
Everyone got. And this really was a proof of concept. He's still pushing to get the full film made.
Oh, I'm sure.
in the wintertime. So, and he just asked all of us. He goes, and he's so enthusiastic because he's never made a film before.
Mm. Oh,
so
these are the best.
He brings the DP on, and Dugan Bridges, a fantastic DP who is really, really knows his stuff. They start collaborating. They immediately become friends. And then Greg is really just telling him, like, I would like this and this. And then it's Dugan's job to really make it look great. Then we had 2 DPs on, 2 cams. And then just everyone clicked so well together that when we went to go see the premiere in, was it May? I think we went, April and May. We watched the premiere, and it definitely was like a proof of concept. We were like, that was a proof, yeah. But afterwards, we were like, man, we want to give us another go at that. Like, let us, please, like anyone, if you're listening or anyone that was at that premiere, if you would, I would love to make this movie and get it going.
Do you know around about how much he's spent on it?
I want to say
or like
roughly,
with the donors and everything?
What was the runtime?
12 minutes, 15
okay.
minutes. I want to say like 200,000
for a 12-minute film. I was like, when you said 12 minutes, and he went, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Wait for it, for it."
Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was.
That's obviously it's high budget for indie standards, right? And it's still low budget for Hollywood standards. And I think something that RJ and I talk about on the other podcast that we do, Movie Mob Fridays, 6 p.m. But the other podcast that we do, we talk a lot about how Hollywood / Netflix, really mostly, they just throw hundreds of millions of dollars at shit all the time. And then you see something like this where it's like, I feel like a lot of people would rather watch something with heart that's like a real story about people that's really good. It's like made for nothing. And it just goes to show, like, they overlook talent, and they'll just, it's all about who you know or this or that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit.
I mean, definitely Hollywood's been...
But this is why it's frustrating, because it's like people are striking and falling apart, and every problem around Hollywood has to do with money, usually. And it's like, maybe we don't have to spend so much money. Maybe we actually go in, because every Hollywood studio, Warner Brothers, everywhere, they have a room somewhere full of scripts. Now it's probably a folder on a desktop. It says shitty scripts we're never going to read. They go, yeah, we'll get back to you. And they don't read them. But maybe if they did, they'd actually save some money and probably make more money. And this is why I'm such an advocate of, like, indie films, because, like, they're all shit. They're all dog shit. And then you find one that's like that diamond in the rough, and it shines so bright, man.
Yeah.
Like, some of these come out really good. I've seen clips from this. There's a trailer or something that's out.
Yeah, it's still like flying through festivals. It's in Europe right now or something.
I bet it's everywhere. It looks like it should be everywhere. Yeah. That's the thing.
And that's one thing I really appreciate about Greg is he really wanted to.
Wow, look at that shit, man.
Yeah, he really wanted to. There's Raphael and Rob are the ones holding me down right now. Those guys are they're all naturals. Like, working with those guys, you can't help but tap into the best parts of your discipline because they just level you up in those scenes. And we shot this in July in North Carolina. It's 110 degrees out. We're sweating. We're in wool clothing.
And you had to get beat up, apparently.
And we're getting beat up, and that was at the crafty table.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
but it's I don't know. It just translates really well. I mean, the photographer for the BTS stuff obviously did very well as well.
Yeah,
but that's a great. But this is a great photo. I mean, this looks. They just look awesome. I love stuff like this.
Yeah, they did a really, really great job. There's Dugan, the director, and there's me on the ground.
Love that.
Yeah.
You look like you're having a good day there.
Yeah, that was fun.
You look happy and healthy.
So hot that day. But man, I'd go back and do that.
He's covered in blood.
I'd go back and do that for free.
Was that you on the ground?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I'd go back and do that for free. That was so much fun.
We don't know if he dies. They had technology. They wrap him up in a T-shirt and they save his life.
Get the tweezers out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta cut off his right side.
Yeah, exactly. He's just half a man. But, man, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, stuff like just being able to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like, people ask me, "Oh, have we seen you in anything?" It's like, no, but I don't know. I just want to work. Like doing stuff like that is
annoying.
So fun.
As I'm sure, as like a filmmaker, if you say like, "Oh yeah, well I'm a director," and all this other stuff, and people say, "Oh, well, have I seen anything you done?" Like, no, unfortunately.
No, like, I don't know when you will. You might never.
Right. Exactly. Well, let's not say.
But I feel like with acting,
crazy
it's the work. That's what's the
just doing that is that's the best part of it. Yeah. And one thing about like Hollywood too, which I don't understand why they haven't woken up to this,
Right.
is that it feels like they've been sacrificing story for message, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Because look at the
Just be careful.
the opening
Approaching.
weekend. Look at the opening weekend of like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, message in Barbie though.
Those a little bit, but Barbie ran a great line of like it was also funny. Like I really enjoyed the
Sure.
movie, and Oppenheimer was a great film as well. But
Oppenheimer's fantastic.
and it's a good but they're both like really well written stories, and we're watching these stories, and you know you actually. There's a point A and point B.
Sure.
Some of the stuff that comes out, you just feel like you're kind of getting yelled at a little bit.
Yeah, you can't deduce. You can't make a subjective opinion about it. They're telling you.
Yeah, and they're shoving it down your throat to be like, well, if you are watching this, that's because you believe in it. And it's like, well, storytelling is like, it's one of the coolest parts of being human is telling stories and hearing new stories. There's nothing better than like when a Christopher Nolan film comes out.
Yeah.
And you're like, what kind of story? Like Interstellar is hands down one of my favorite films because at the core of it, it's still a story about a father trying to get back to his daughter. And that's a universal. And this Emerson project I just wrapped too.
I was just going to ask you about that. So I hit you up to come on here when I saw that you were in Boston because you're normally in Florida.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, take a ride. You know, why not? If you're available, and you were, thank God. But
I'll be here for a little bit now into October.
I don't know how much you can say about it, but what'd you do with this film? Like, what is the movie?
It was an Emerson film. It was called She Sees Ghosts.
Not nearly as good as the last Emerson film you were in, but
Tail?
No, I meant the
one before that.
Yeah, the one before that. Jesus, you're all over the place. Good for you, dude. I'm sorry. Before you continue, I'm so pumped for you. Like you're gonna have such a big career. It's you're very talented. You really are, and I think you're gonna do very well in this industry.
Thanks, man.
You know,
that means a lot.
Keep working.
Yeah, it was a great shoot. I wrapped yesterday.
Yep. What's it about?
It's called She Sees Ghosts, and it's about it's directed by these two fantastic Emerson students, Serena and Catherine.
Awesome.
And they basically just reached out to me.
Yeah.
And were like, hey, we've seen your profile. Would you? Because you know, it's an Emerson film. There's not a bit budget or anything, so it really was just, you know, would you mind reading our script? And I read the script and I was like, yeah, I'll definitely do this. It's a great script.
Does that give you a sense of like imposter syndrome a little bit?
No, not really.
I'm so like when people compliment, like when you say I'm not an asshole, I'm very self-deprecating. When I say I'm an asshole, it's because I don't like making people feel bad. I'm just frustrated in the moment. I probably haven't slept in 3 days. That's usually what it is. Yeah. You know. But if someone hit me up and was like, "Oh, it would be honored for you to read my script," and I'd be like, "Me? The fuck? What do you want me to read it for?" I'd be like, "I'd you read this?" Like, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing. You know.
Catherine just asked me that she thought I would be maybe a good fit, and if we could set up an audition, or something. And I said, I read the script and I said, yeah, let's do it. And we did. I met the two of them. They're both very talented, very, very nice. And I thought, okay, it's definitely good. I finished the audition. I thought I did. I mean, it's a supporting role, but I love the story. The story is it's a girl. She's moving in with her older brother, who's me, and everything. I'm leaving, so she's kind of apartment sitting for me, and it's in this world where people's ghosts kind of follow them around, like bedsheet ghosts.
I love that.
Follow them around.
So my style, man. I love that.
And so it's about this. It's about this girl coping with loss and grief, and her connection with her ghost, essentially, and then her coming to kind of an acceptance by the end of it, and trying to reconnect a little bit of the brokenness in the family.
Now watch this, RJ. And how long is the film going to be in the end? The script was like 4 pages long.
It'll probably be like 10 minutes or so. It's going to premiere in December.
Yeah. It's crazy, these short films. That's a big storyline. I mean, listen, all the power to them, and I hope they make a great film, and I'm sure they will, you know? Like,
but I mean, I should have taken some photos on set or something, but the lighting, the whole crew was fantastic, and the lighting setups that these had, and I was looking at the monitor, it looked like an A24 film. I could not believe it. It looked great. And the script was very well written. I cannot say enough about the script. It's very well done. It's a very intentional script. It doesn't mince words. It's very condensed in a sense that you just don't feel like there's anything that doesn't need to be in there.
Right. I'm super excited just in general about the next 20 years of film. Like my career, RJ, I'm sure you're the same way. Like it's always changing and there's always a new way. It's like music. Like there's always, like, you know, Beethoven, if you had introduced him to a rap song, you would have been like, what is, you know? And it's just constantly evolving. And when you go on and you see, like, I guarantee you, like if you look at like Taxi Driver, right? Martin Scorsese, Taxi Driver, he was like 27 or whatever he was when he made that. Or even Mean Streets or anything from his really young days. Film in general has just completely done a 180 on
so
that.
different.
But the next like 20 years are when all of these kids, RJ, these two girls you just worked with on this set in Boston, like that's when they're all coming up. So like if they're doing crazy lighting setups right now, just imagine what film is going to be like. Like if we made Cadillac now when you were in college, imagine what we're going to be making when we're 30s, 40s. Like it's going to be an incredible next generation.
Yeah,
of
it's great. It's great to
filmmakers.
see people that I work with like getting opportunities to really show their stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
not only that though, it's the talent at this young age. I'm saying you're working with like they're in college, so they're what 21.
It's nice to see it get noticed. I was just on that. I did some extra work for that Nicole Kidman Netflix series, The Perfect Couple. It got shut down, I think, because of the strike.
Oh,
but it's Nicole Kidman,
Liev
Liev Schreiber, and Dakota Fanning, and like it's a pretty cool.
Wow.
I think it's
cool
based
cast.
off a book.
Yeah.
Did you get their autographs?
I
or?
think
No.
Allie read that.
And I was there for.
Can you sign my napkin, please?
I was there for a couple of days and just doing basic background stuff, which is any reason to be on a set,
of course,
and
a paycheck. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and we're putting our props down at one point, and I turn, and it's this girl who's working as a she's an AC, working as an assistant camera.
Yeah,
and she's helping with props, wardrobe, and camera setups.
Yep,
basically, and she and I did a film for her college thesis.
That's awesome.
And I remember working with her and thinking, wow, like she's very talented. And then seeing her on set and just being like, and she was like, hey, I thought I recognized you. I was like, hey, this is so cool that you're doing. Dude, it's nice to see talented people get more work opportunities
to continue to do stuff,
to keep doing stuff, because it's a tough industry. So
yeah, that's why I wanted to have you here, because you're talented. I wanted to recognize you. I recognize it, Johnny boy.
Thank you.
I do. No, it's true. It is really cool, and you just never, as long as you never stop, you know what I mean? Because the second you stop and you lose momentum on anything that you're doing, like right now, the strikes, everything else, I don't know. There's just not a lot of work out there right now. Like and even on a production side of things, there's not a lot of work out there right now. And the economy is not great right now, you know? So I'm like, okay, start a podcast. I have to keep going. I have to keep being involved with people in the industry. And like, at the end of the day, whether people watch it or not, I have these for future. It'll be cool when we're on a set someday when we're both in our 50s. And I'll be like, hey, look at this, buddy. Look at this when you had muscles and you were like this young, handsome guy. And then you'll be like...
And my right arm's off because my rotator cuff.
I'll be talking to you, feeding you through a straw. Like, you want to watch it again? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
you know?
Thanks.
But no, it's just a cool thing. Like, we're so in the span of... I don't know, my father's always owned his own business. And he switched careers and started a completely new business when he turned like 43, I want to say.
Whoa.
So like he spent the first, like from the time he turned 29 till he was like 43, he had open run and was very successful at one thing. And then like I went from roofing to training police dogs, like completely opposite worlds, like not even in the same spectrum of what work he could be doing. So he stopped and turned it around. And when you think about life like that, like at any moment you can totally switch on or switch off what you're doing, and it's never too late and all this other stuff. But if you keep the momentum, if you find that thing that you love so much, like making movies or whatever, and you just stick with it and always strive to improve and be better and do something new and exciting. Like RJ wrote recently, and we're working on it, the noir film, right? It's a black and white it's a black and white noir film that's like shot in that 1940s style that nobody's currently doing right now. You know what I mean? Bradley Cooper is coming out with that film, The Maestro. Yep. It looks like something that was shot in the 1970s if you watch the trailer. trying to bring back old things and then make them your own, and like really just kind of fucking with the bowl, like stir in the pot until something really cool comes out of it that you never saw before.
Yeah.
You have to do that all the time.
Just got to throw shit at the wall.
And it's one of those things where if you can't live without that, if you like lose sleep at night because you're like, oh, I gotta get this the right way. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't go work at CVS and be like, well, I was gonna be an actor, but you know what I mean? Like you got to just push yourself to keep going. I mean,
yeah.
And it's cool that you keep doing that. You know.
I have a film coming up. We start pre-production in like mid-September or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Forever War. It's kind of a cool zombie film.
Peaceful, right?
Yeah. But it's the script, the character. I'm playing the lead character, and it's going to be a very emotionally draining and taxing film. And I'm stoked. Like I'm so excited to do that, to like be pushed. And because the one I just wrapped, like I was the older brother. We have like a heart-to-heart scene and everything, and we have some nice dialogues and stuff, and I can step into that role and do a performance I'm proud of. But this one, I really feel like I get to like push. I really get to open up and try to find something in my discipline that I haven't found yet. And that's also what when I've had actor friends that audition for something, and then they'll call me and they'll be upset and they'll say, oh, I didn't get it. I don't know if this is going to work. I feel like if you stop believing in yourself, the industry stops like right when you stop believing. Mm-hmm. The second you say, I'm no good, I'm not going to get anything, the industry hears you and goes, whatever, you're done.
I don't know if
there's another 10 people coming up after you. Like you have to, because even on your lowest days, you have to believe that you're going to get something, that you're going to keep working, that you're capable enough to handle it.
Yeah. So I don't know if they brainwashed me or not, but I did sales before I did any of this. And we had to go through like sales training, and it's all very like Tony Robbins-y kind of stuff. But the guy who was running it, we were like chit-chatting at lunch or something, and he was like, oh, we're going to go over this later in the afternoon. And we did. But he was telling me one of the days that we were doing, like while we were at lunch, he was like, you got to just remember that whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, you're correct. So like whatever you think is reality. Like your perception of yourself is more important than anything else in the world. Mm-hmm. So like but you also have to act on it as well. So like if you can't just walk around and tell people you make movies if you've never even made a movie. Right. You know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with saying I'm going to make a movie and then making a movie and then saying I make movies and go and make more movies. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing wrong with that. And the second you believe, and it's like a real I mean, this is what people do with like religion and everything else. Like people really, I mean, it's a powerful thing. Like your mind is a very powerful thing. If you believe it to be true, it will become true, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So like if you think that you're going to be like a depressed sack of shit working at, Walgreens or Starbucks or whatever it is, and nobody likes you, and you have you're not going to have any, you don't want to go out and be, outgoing because nobody likes you.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to sound like you shouldn't go out and be cocky and an asshole, but if you go out there and you're like, you know what, I'm not a bad guy, like go out there and be confident and try things. And when you fuck up, you go, I fucked that up pretty bad, didn't I? You know what I mean?
Won't do that again.
Right. Exactly. Learn from your mistakes, push forward, strive. If you can't afford to hire someone, learn how to do that job and then do that along with your own other job. It's not going to be fucking easy.
Yeah.
But like you can't give up on yourself.
That's why acting's a weird teetering business, because you have to be able to tap into your emotions at the flick of a switch, but you also need to understand the discipline of it. Yeah. And disconnect from it as fast as you get there. Yeah. So you need to be like, I need to cry right now. I didn't get that role. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
And you gotta really
taxing, I'm sure.
balance that. And it is taxing, but the high you get out of it, just being able to go to that place, it's also very therapeutic in a lot of ways, because when you have a very like emotional scene and you're crying, or you're getting some emotion out, or you're screaming at someone or something, and you end that, and then you feel proud of yourself, and the director looks at you and goes, yeah.
That's got to be a good moment.
That was it. When you get those moments, it is worth the hours of rehearsals, the lack of sleep, everything.
All the roles you didn't get,
It's
like
worth
everything
it.
else.
And
Yeah.
I'm not talking like, you need the crew to stand up and give you an applause. But when
Sure,
you
sure,
look at the
sure.
guy that the person that you are trying to impress the most, and they look at you and they go, we got it. That was perfect.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's like heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be cool. It's cool. I'm sure RJ will agree. Like, it's cool on the director's side when you've done like 15 takes and they finally get it. It's cool to like watch it happen and you go, if that camera wasn't rolling, I'll fucking kill somebody
Yeah.
because that's the one. We're using that one. You know what I mean? When it's right, it's magic. It's fucking magic.
It really
is. It's a
And
beautiful thing.
That's all we're looking for is just to find that moment. I remember being on this set in the Pines. Another set I should actually talk about is this.
Plug it if you got it. Plug it.
The Watchful Eye. I just wrapped with.
I heard that was shit. I'm just go.
This director, Michael Cravata, he is like blew me away.
Yeah.
With his style of directing, the type of shots he wanted to get. I was watching where he was setting up the camera and like what he was doing, and I'm like, okay, I can see where that would. And then he would show me what he wanted, what he got. And I was like, oh, I have no idea what he's going to do. He is so good
That's funny.
at knowing. And
can you give me an example, like from a scene or anything?
yeah, we had this one shot, like I'm reading the script, and it's basically like it's a bad date gone wrong. So this girl comes over to my house, and we're supposed to be on a date, and you slowly unravel that I'm not who I say I am, that I'm a dangerous person, basically.
You don't say.
Yeah. And this is loosely based on a true. No, I'm kidding.
Go.
And so there's a scene where a SWAT team comes to my house, and the gaffers are setting up the strobing lights for black and the blue and red police lights.
Yeah.
These extras show up, and they're all getting tacked out with like really convincing costumes and guns and everything. And my co-star Earl, he played the SWAT captain. He and I had done a film together before, so he shows up, and I'm like, "You're the guy? All right, cool." So you're reading the script, and it's like the captain and his officer show up on the script, and he somehow like rigs up this crazy
Contraption.
static like dolly shot where you're looking at like the whole lawn and these bushes and the entire SWAT team, the Watchful Eye. And you have this entire SWAT team emerging from the bushes very slowly, perfectly timed, and then kind of the camera's moving with them as they fall into single file. It's this really nice tracking shot. And it's just amazing that like he can really, he just made it like whatever you read on script and you're like, I think I know how that's going to look.
Yeah.
He made it look 1,000 times better. And you're just like, dang.
Yeah. Number one, Riley.
Yeah, Riley and his Kayla. But yeah, Michael was really he was incredible to work with. And that's what I mean, like just connecting with these people and then watching them work is I did a Western of which should be releasing soon. I really hope so cuz it was so much fun to like ride horses and dress up like that. And it was kind of shot like a Tarantino style shootout in an old bar we shot up in Wachusett in this old lodge or something. We had an incredible crew. We all did it for like pennies because it was just such a great script. And my co-star, his name's Chris Salvi. He is the director told me that she had switched all the shooting dates to accommodate getting him on set. She was like, I need him as the villain. And I said, okay. And when I met him, I was like, oh yeah, we like whatever dates we could have gotten for him, we need him.
That's cool.
And I remember sitting outside with some of the crew and some of the cast watching his first scene where he has this really, I think someone gets shot in the pub and he's, he's getting all rambunctious and talking about everything and he's got the big beer mug and he's hitting it and beer's going everywhere. And
Yeah.
Very, very cool old Western style. And we're all watching it and he's delivering his lines and he just has like this incredible cadence. He just looks like a bad guy, and he acts so good. And I remember them finishing it, calling cuts, and everyone. It was one of those moments where everyone was like, "Whoa!" Like clapping.
Yeah,
like,
that's sick.
I got up and clapped, and then working with him was just such a pleasure. just working with these people. There's so much like hidden talent around here.
Yeah, I would totally
He
agree.
auditioned for Frank.
Chris, you told me about that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, he was just he's so talented. Just watching him work, and watching my co-star like Mary and John and Connor, like watching all these guys work was just
Yeah, it's cool. Talent is
incredible.
I don't know. I was just thinking about you and Savino auditioning for the same role as each other on my
oh
film.
yeah, Savino still brings that up.
Does he? He's such
Yeah,
a I gotta get him on.
We
here.
did a series recently, no, probably last year or something, and that was one of the first things we finally had a scene together, and he was like,
It's like looking in the mirror.
he's like, I auditioned for
Yeah.
that, and you got it. Let's do the scene. And I was like, what, you all right? But he was good. He was.
It was not. Listen, I wanted to change. Savino's significantly older than you, and
I love Savino.
I
That's
changed
so
the
funny.
character. I saw like 70 old men or older men than you. He's not an old man. He's a young guy, but he's older than you. And I wanted somebody who was like younger. I thought it would relate more to the other character that you were talking to in the scene, and it worked. But the what's the smile?
Nothing.
Okay, you sure? Okay, so so I thought it would just relate better, and it I was right. For half of that scene, I was right. So but no, it worked out. Savino's a great actor. It was cool, and it was just a weird moment on set on Cadillac. Then the next film was it was bizarre.
The series we did, I was some like rock star, and he was my manager, and we have this kind of like screaming match at each other. And doing that scene together was so much fun because
Are you open? I hope you're going to see that on Instagram. It's going to be a clip of you saying like doing the Savino and being like, "You all right?" That's so funny.
Probably. And but also just like working with
so funny.
Working with you two guys, like when we did Line of Duty, and you had those guys come in, they're all like whatever they're from or something.
Yeah, they weren't actors.
Yeah,
they were real.
They're like real. You're like, yeah. You're
oh, they would pull me aside and be like, he wouldn't say it like that. That would never get said.
Right.
Like, what do you mean?
Those are hardcore.
Yeah, they're
types
they're
of
like
guys.
they're really good friends of mine. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know their money or anything, but they're really good friends of mine.
Yeah, and
they're nice. They're nice.
Yeah,
They're tough, but they're nice.
Super. Yeah, and I'm sitting down with these, and you can just tell like the energy in the. You're like, all right, these guys, if they wanted to.
Oh yeah, we'd all be dead.
Yeah,
that'd be it.
Would be dead.
And,
but,
and then they'd start like eating, their hamburgers or whatever afterward with the pile of dead bodies in front of them. Super cool guys though. They were really nice.
But we're starting the scene, and I forget who I was sitting next to.
Bobby.
But, Bobby. I was sitting next to Bobby, and he's remembering the lines. Then he leans over to me and he goes, "What's an easy way for me to remember this?"
Careful of the impression. You
And I was
might
like,
see this.
"What?" And he's like, "Yeah, like how do you think I would?" And I said, "Okay, well you could do that." And then at the end of it, he gave me a pat on the back, and he's like, "Thanks so much for your help." And I'm like, "Yeah, fucking, you want me to kill someone, Bobby? Like I'll do it."
Whatever
you want, man.
I'm like, Bobby's a good guy.
But really, really nice guys, and that was the same thing with like your dad on Cadillac at the film festival. Your dad came up to me and he's like, "Hey,"
I love it. I love it.
Came up to me and my girlfriend. He's like, "You guys ever need a table in the North End? Just say you know me." And we're like, "All right, I guess."
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so funny.
It is just the culture around here is so funny. Like like so many people are just characters.
Well, I think it goes to like the he's not. I guess like that culture, like that somewhat Italian American culture, but also New England in general. Like people are gonna do what they can. Like RJ's dad is. You have such a cool dad. He's such a nice guy.
Your parents are the coolest.
Oh, your
people
mom's
in the world.
awesome. I love your mom. She's awesome. But like your dad is so like he's real. No bullshit.
Yeah.
But he's not a dick. He's like super nice, but he's just no bullshit,
Yeah. You would never want to get on his bad side.
No, but like
which I like, but also you could like shoot the shit with him.
Yes. The more you talk to him, the more you're like, do you have a bad side? Like you know what I mean?
You're like, you're the coolest guy. Like you just you know exactly who you are.
But he's gonna do like him saying that to you. You ever need a table? It's like he's doing whatever he can because that's how much he respects the work that you put in.
Yeah.
That's the culture. That's really what it is. Bobby doesn't want to fuck up the scene. So like, even though he's this big hard ass, right?
Right.
He still doesn't want to fuck it up. He's gonna lean in and be like, "What do you think? You're the pro, right? The fuck? What are we gonna do here?"
Yeah, right.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I love like my heritage and culture and everything else, because it's so real, honest. They don't care if they're goofy. Like that's who they really are.
You just never have to think. You just never have to guess what someone's thinking. They'll tell you, and they're very honest. But there's a realness to people on the East Coast.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't need to pretend to be anyone.
Yeah, and they don't care
And
if
they
you
don't
like
give-
them
and
or
if
they
you
don't
like
like
them,
them.
they don't care
It
at
doesn't
all.
matter, But no, your dad is really cool.
Yeah,
Super. He's a little mafioso, somewhat. I mean, the guy owns a T-shirt.
Yeah, but
company.
I love people like that. When I started acting, I got a bartending job, and my general manager at the time, he's this Italian American guy, and he wanted to be an actor growing up. So when I told him I was an actor, he was like, "Whatever days you need off, just let me know, and you can go do your thing."
It is cool when someone gets the work. Like they get it. Like they understand.
Super respectful. And for Cadillac too, he was working that day, but he was like, "Could I come in and be an extra?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you can." But it didn't end up working out. But he got so excited about that, and we'd talk about old movies, and we'd talk about whatever it was, and we'd quote movies and stuff. We used to quote, we used to quote Jimmy Stewart and like, and Rocky and stuff.
The best.
It was it was ridiculous. We used to do we'd do that whole scene. I'd be Rocky and he'd be Adrian on the beach. We'd do the entire scene.
Jesus Christ.
In the kitchen, like just yelling at each other. I'm afraid, all right? We'd do the whole scene.
That's so good. I love that. That's
and
great.
that whole like meeting him, and then the owners of that restaurant, which were like Italian immigrants, like straight from Tuscany, like they're just very real, hardworking people, and they respect hard work.
Yeah,
and that's the cool thing, because it doesn't really matter what the work is, as long as you're committed and you do your job and you show up and you're working really hard. They'll say stuff. They'll be like, "I mean, it's not for me. I'm not gonna do that." But good on you. Like, good for you for doing. That's definitely the mindset. It's like, if you're gonna do the work, go for it.
They love to shit talk, which is my favorite thing.
It's so much fun.
Shit talk with them. You could go up to them and just say like things you should not say to like the owner of the company, and then look at you and start bursting out laughing, and then say something back to you, and you guys would start going at it. It's just fun. You really feel like they actually have they know who they are, and they know what they like and what they don't like, and they respect people that are upfront with them.
100%. No, I agree. It's been some good stuff. So you've had a good career so far. You gonna go back
so
to
far.
Personal training anytime soon, or what do you think?
No, that industry sucks.
What do you got? Anything coming up, or anything that's dropping soon that's coming out of festivals, or something where people can go like look at your reel or anything? I don't know. Plug yourself, man. We've done 2 hours. You want to keep going? I'll go all day, kid. You're not scaring me.
Where is my reel? I don't even know. It's on like Backstage and Actors Access. I have 2 films booked for October, so I'll be here in Boston filming for that. That's Forever War, and then the other one's called 1 Week or something like that.
It's in 1 month.
I should read the script, but so I start shooting on that. This one, She Sees Ghosts, which I just finished, will be out in December. In the Pines, I think once it's done with the festival circuit, that'll be open on like Vimeo and YouTube for people to watch.
That'll be cool. I can't wait to see that, man. It really does look really good. Yeah.
I got random stuff. I have like I have a commercial for like an appliance store that'll probably be out in September.
Yeah. Don't turn your dial. Watch those commercials.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where
to
can
the 9 people that still have cable watching this?
Yeah, I know, right?
Check it out.
For general like listeners and stuff like that, like where can people follow you?
Follow me on Instagram. It's at John Thomas Potvin. That's probably the easiest one. I'm really not good at social media, but I try to post as many updates about
your outfits.
About what shade of T-shirt I'll be wearing.
Yeah.
But just about film work. I use it mostly now for just filming and promoting projects I've done and all that stuff. I'm pretty terrible at social media. I need to get better at that.
But they can follow you there.
You can follow me there. I don't have a Twitter. I do have a Facebook, John Potvin. You can probably find me.
Yeah. You're super approachable, and you're a good guy, and you're helpful, and you're nice. So follow him.
And if anyone, if you need like recommendations, if you want to work with me, that'd be great. I'd love to talk about it. But also, if you just want to, if you have questions about other people that you might be interested in, I can set you up with other people and
100%
crew members, cast members, whatever you want.
RJ, where can people follow you?
Oh, geez, I got to plug. Let me see. RJ Curreri.
Yep.
18 on Instagram. We got the Movie Mob podcast.
You got to follow that. If you don't follow that,
yeah,
why
on
even
this
listen?
channel
every
every Friday at 6 p.m.
Yeah. I know you're subscribed, kid. You better be fucking subscribed.
Yeah.
I'm definitely subscribed.
Yeah, no, definitely follow RJ. Follow John.
Where should we follow you?
Here.
Oh, okay.
Right here. YouTube. Subscribe. I get the fuck out of here. No. What thank you so much for driving up and for hanging out. It means a lot to me. And it's cool. Like I said, I've said on previous episodes before, it really is an excuse. Like it's a reason to come up and hang out when you're not working or
man,
doing something else.
I'll be here for a little bit, so I'll come back and hang out with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. It's super fun.
This is fun.
It's a good time. It is always a good time. Thank you for staying here for pretty much the entire day now.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was cool. We do own different clothing. We didn't just because this will be out. This will be out in a couple weeks actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, forget what I just said. We just went through the whole gambit again. No, thank you, RJ, for sticking around. I appreciate it. And
He's got me locked in here. This is my only change of clothes.
Don't remove that chain from your ankle. Keep that there.
Yeah, right. I only eat corn husks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's
it is 63 weeks straight.
Yeah, 63 weeks. Yeah, that time in Italy and the time in LA and everything else. That was
get 10,000 likes. He'll release me for a day.
Exactly. Yeah, whatever works. Yeah, like it so we can free RJ. That's good merch.
Yeah.
Nick Williams show, free RJ.
Free RJ.
That'll be good. That's really good. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure.
No problem.
How you doing?
Easy, good. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah.